Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shifting Gears. I am your host, Clutch. Hopefully, my mic's not too loud. I'm going to adjust some levels there. We have had such an incredible week here at MLG, at BlizzCon. A lot of awesome things have happened. We've had some amazing games come out this fall. Fall has been huge as far as gaming, not just esports, but in big releases. So we have a lot to talk about. I definitely want to call this the week of awesome because a lot of awesome things have happened. I got to interview a lot of people on stage, and it was a lot of fun to be on camera, and a lot of fun to meet a lot of people that came up to me and really appreciated my work and a lot of the work that we do here at MLG. So thank you so much for the support. And with me today, I have three very awesome guys here that I'm going to switch over. 1 second. Booyah. Joining me this fine evening, I have Tumba. Say hello, Tumba.
Sup, son?
I also have MLG Wiggin, one of the referees for Major League Gaming.
Hey, everyone.
And Galen Andrus, a.k.a. MLG Omerta, which, if you watch some of the MLG coverage at BlizzCon, did a fantastic job covering a lot of the new units for Heart of the Swarm. We're going to dive into that a little bit later. Galen, how you feeling?
Good, man.
Right
Thanks
on.
for having me on.
Well, gentlemen, thank you. It's always a pleasure working with you. This is pretty exciting fall so far. I mean, we have had some amazing tournaments, especially with MLG. BlizzCon was huge. We've had a couple games coming out. We have a couple more coming out in November and then in December. So it's a lot of fun. It was kind of crazy going back-to-back, Orlando and then BlizzCon. Funny story, just to transition this. I had met Tumba along with the other community casters there, and I was going to fly back home to go to school for 2 days and then leave again to California. And Tumba is giving me a ride to the airport. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? Why am I going to fly back home for 2 days and then go to BlizzCon? My mind's not going to be on school. And so we're in the car, and I look over at Tumba, and I go, you know, it'd be kind of funny if I just went with you guys to Miami. And he looked over, and he's kind of like, yeah. Are you serious? And we're seriously going into the departing area of the airport, and I go, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, man.
Never stopped the car, man.
Nope.
The car did not literally stop till we got to Miami. So right through the Orlando airport after lunch, straight to Miami. Clutch was a trooper. I did warn him, though. I'm like, it's my son's 4th birthday tomorrow, so we got to meet the whole fam and, crashed on that futon behind me that you can't see anyway. But quite a good house guest. If you ever want Clutch as a house guest, thumbs up, man. Dishes in the sink, very manner, the whole nine. Super house guest. Just make sure you take him to the right airport when he's supposed to leave for BlizzCon, because Clutch almost didn't make it to BlizzCon.
So my flight for BlizzCon is 7 in the morning, and so we leave. I think we left like at 5 or 4:50 or something like that. And so
it was early.
It was early, and so we go. We had maybe like 2-3 hours of sleep, and we're going to the airport, and I see I think it was Fort Lauderdale Airport. And I'm getting out of the car, and I go, Miami Airport? And Tumba looks at me. Tumba looks at me and goes, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, my airport's supposed to be Miami. I told you that last night. He goes, get in the car. We can still make it. So we book it. I was able to make it to BlizzCon. That was a little nuts, man. But that was so much fun. And, sometimes in life, you just have to go on those adventures to listen to that gut feeling and go. So thank you very much, man, for hosting me. We talked a lot about esports, a lot of cool stuff about casting, about Major League Gaming, the future of esports. It was a lot of fun. And, we do have a lot to talk about tonight, gentlemen. Big announcements, Heart of the Swarm, Diablo 3, Pandas and WoW, for those that care, Blizzard Dota, Batman Arkham City, Battlefield 3. I mean, all these things have happened in the last week or 2 weeks. So it's tough. I wish I had more time to enjoy all of these games, but unfortunately 24 hours in the day doesn't cut it, and I do need sleep because I am a human. But let's briefly go over Orlando. Guys, record-breaking numbers, 181,000 concurrent viewers? Concurrent. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. No, concurrent viewership. Big deal. I think we might see Sundance in an Evel Knievel outfit for Providence.
Awesome.
What do you guys think? I mean, we've seen bubbles in esports before that have bursted, and that have become popular and that the game becomes old or the community falls apart. Do you guys think this is the same thing for StarCraft 2, or this is a different story, starting with Galen?
No, man, I think StarCraft 2 is just going to continue to get bigger. I mean, there's a lot of talk of Brood War pros coming over. I think we'll get into that a little bit later too, but I don't think we've even seen the tip top of the potential yet in StarCraft 2, not to mention we still have 2 expansions to come out. The fan base is just really huge, and the fans are really great. They show tons of support and get really loud at the events, so I don't think we've seen the tip. I think we've only seen the tip of the iceberg so far for StarCraft 2 and esports so far.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. Talking about you are really involved with the community itself, and you've seen an influx as far as your casting. You think it's here to stay?
Yeah, man. I think that the big thing with StarCraft, right, is it's the human element, it's the stories, because there's been 1,000 video games created, over time, way more, hundreds of thousands. But it's the community aspect of SE2 and the stories. I mean, let's face it, let's be honest here. MLG prize pools aren't the biggest. Yet, pro players are coming from Korea. Crowds are showing up and cheering, and it's not something that just disappears overnight, I don't think. I think it's here to stay for sure, as long as there's a story to tell, there'll be people to watch it.
Yeah. Well, Dave, you're getting into streaming, man. You have a stream. Omerta has a stream. Tumba, you stream games for different tournaments. Do you think that the internet vehicle itself, with everybody being able to stream their own games or have access to these smaller tournaments, is helping that vehicle of esports grow?
Oh, absolutely, man. That's what really is sort of making the scene and helping it grow, is that ability to just go onto Team Liquid or something and see your favorite player streaming. Now seeing Korean players streaming, stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's that cool fan interaction and everything, and just that ability to just basically follow your favorite player as he practices, as he does all that. That's what really helps it. I mean, it just makes everybody so passionate about it. You go to like an MLG, or you just talk to someone on the street that like is aware of the pro scene. Everyone just is so passionate about it. It's amazing to see. So yeah, I would really be surprised if it disappeared somehow. I can't see it. Everyone loves it. Obviously, Blizzard is supporting it. That's huge.
Yeah.
And more and more people, even from the Korean scene, are coming over. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, Brood War has lasted for over 12 years, and it has grown as an esport dominantly in Korea. But with StarCraft 2, these Koreans, when they first came over to their first MLGs, man, the look on their faces when they saw the crowds watching them on the main stage was fantastic. I mean, that's why they keep coming back, because, like you said, Tumba, the prize pools aren't the biggest, but it's that honor and it's that chance to be in front of such a large group of people to cheer you on, and it really, that's something that maybe money can't buy. When you have such a prestigious following, especially Boxer. I mean, the crowds for Boxer everywhere we go is so awesome. So awesome. Well, I think bar crafts are like, it's blowing my mind how big these things are getting, man. Friday night at MLG Orlando, if you guys tuned in, we streamed a bar craft out in California that had a lot of Blizzard employees. Even Mark Morheim was the CEO of Blizzard in the center, just cheering like nuts. And that is so cool. I wish I could go to a bar craft, but nobody is open over here on the East Coast during the GSL tournaments, and then the other ones we work at. So for MLG, but I think that's something that is just another element of why esports is here to stay, is when people can physically get together and enjoy it. There's such a power there. It's like when people go to theaters, As far as the internet, media is so available, movies are so available on the internet with Netflix and other companies, but the experience of going to a theater and being around other people and enjoying a movie, there's a magic to it. And when you can have that attending a major league gaming event or by going to a bar craft, and I think that's why those are going to continue to become more popular, and that's really exciting to see. And Europe and countries over there have a little bit easier time watching the Korean matches because of the time difference. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'm really pumped for the growth of esports and the vehicle of esports continuing to grow. And we have, We got the best casters for it, guys. Seriously, Tasteless and Artosis, Day 9, Husky, DJ Wheat. These guys are so
Tumba.
passionate.
Don't forget
Well, yeah, we got Tumba. We got Tumba. We have the community
Cheers,
casters. We got Robin. We had Nursky. We had Adabisi. I mean, these guys are passionate about what they do, and that's what communicates to people that are unfamiliar to the game. Is that they can hear that passion of the people casting it. They're like, wow, that guy's really into what he's talking about. I'm kind of interested in this now. And that's that connection. That's that bridge, that human connection that I think has really helped continue the vehicle of esports. So personalities are important, definitely. Tumba, this was your first MLG, man. What did you think?
Well, I was coming as a spectator regardless. I wasn't aware I was going to be casting it. So for a lot of people, I think, Code S or Code A, as far as casters go, that would be the pinnacle for them. For me, it would be getting to participate in MLG, so it was a dream come true. And I wasn't prepared. I think about a week or so before I was on Shifting Gears, and you'd asked me, and I asked you a question. I said, what do you think I'm going to be most blown away by when I get to MLG? And you said the crowd. And for sure, that was it. Like, the combined energy of the room is an amazing experience. As far as my first MLG went, it'll be an experience I'll never forget.
That's awesome, man. I remember you and I were talking about it backstage, and you were saying, you told me that you couldn't explain it, you just had to experience it. And then once you did, especially the crowds, man. The crowds at Orlando were so cool. It was...
Oh, no, for sure. For sure. I mean, so many, landmark achievements in my life were made there. Getting in the studio with you after doing a floor interview. So the floor interview, was great.
Yeah.
And then I get in the studio with you, and then, for those of you that have never experienced such a thing, you're in a studio with a camera facing you, and you see all this production, so it's kind of intimidating. And then you get to hear your voice going over to 4,000 nerds outside, ready to just pounce. And I'm like, I can't tell a joke because if it bombs, I'm just going to start crying in front of Clutch and go fetal position on him. So
thank you for not doing that. That would have been tough.
But there was a moment actually where it all became sort of culminated and got really surreal. And you asked me a question, and I didn't even listen to what you were saying. I was just like,
yeah,
what?
it was funny too because I'm like, oh no, did I ask a bad question? It didn't make sense because that was a dream come true, man. I mean,
it was awesome.
But it gives us a better perspective of what it is like to sit in those places because honestly, you don't see the crowd. You have a TV monitor there, you have the camera, and you have your two computers, and that's what these casters have to work with, and they do such a good job having such high energy for these games.
Yeah, people don't understand the amount of work that goes into casting at that level. Guys, everybody that you mentioned, Wheat, Husky, Day 9, Tastosis, all of them have perfected their craft to make it look easy, and it is by no means easy. It's like live TV, where there's no chance to edit or anything else. So it's just go. If you mess up, everybody's going to see it, and I can add quite a bit of pressure. But these guys are pros, and they make it look easy.
Yeah, I believe somebody had commented to me how well Day 9 corrects or rolls with his mistakes that he makes. I think it was at BlizzCon. I think it was you, Galen, that Day 9 was tripping up over something, but he finally got it out, and it was so entertaining just to see that little journey of him tripping up on that mistake. But honestly, if you beat yourself up about it, it's just going to continue to snowball and snowball, and you're going to get off kilter, and you're going to lose your focus, and honestly, you just have to roll with it and laugh at yourself. Don't take it too seriously and move on.
Yep.
And that's what these casters can do, man. And to know the game, to talk so quickly about it, about everything that's going on, it does take a lot of skill and a lot of talent. And I think we have the best. I think MLG's got the best casters, so they do a great job. Omerta, you were in the trenches, man, as far as watching different games. We had 12 Koreans at this MLG event, and we had 2 foreigners in the top 4. 2 foreigners in the top 4. We had Idra at 4th, and then Huck winning it. Do you think this is a fluke for the foreigners winning, or is this a real thing? Do you think now it's anybody's game?
I don't, man. Well, I still think that there's a top tier of foreigners that can win against Koreans, and I'd been really critical of Huck's play in the past, but he showed me some really incredible games in Orlando. And he came out really well prepared, really well practiced, and it was obvious that he was a top-tier player in that tournament. And honestly, I think it's hard to make an argument against Huck being the best Protoss player in the world right now. When you look at his results over the last few months, winning Home Story Cup, winning DreamHack, I believe it was too, and now winning Orlando. I mean, Huck's just playing incredible, man. You can really tell the 10 months or so that he's been over in Korea, 10 or 11 months, something like that. It's really made a difference, and he's playing some really great StarCraft right now. And Idra, I'm a huge Idra fan, and I think he's going to get to a really, really incredible level once he goes back over with the EG guys. And, I think it was Slayers that they're partnering up with over in Korea.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean,
Scary.
I think you're going to see Idra's game step to a whole new level in 6 to 8 months. He's just going to be playing incredible StarCraft, and that series against Bomber really showed. I mean, Bomber's one of the best Terrans in the entire world, and Idra played him in straight-up macro games and won. So, I mean, Idra played incredible. Those two guys are the top-tier foreigners right now, along with guys like maybe Stefano, Sase, and a few others. But, yeah, I mean, I definitely think there is a closing of the gap, per se, when you narrow it down to, like, those top 5 foreigners.
Yeah. Some people have been saying, well, these Koreans weren't at the top, or if we bring Nesty or MVP over, it'll be a different story. Well, I don't know, man. We'll have Nesty. Right? Yeah, we're going to find out.
We're
going to find out in Providence.
For sure.
And, when Idra won that first series against Boxer, you could tell in his demeanor that he had a new boost of confidence. Because he had lost to Boxer, I don't know how many times on the main stage, let alone at MLG events. But when he won that series...
Anaheim, I mean, I'm not going to call it what it is. Anaheim, Idra's quit both games. Like, Baneling's so ugly. Late, he didn't even try. As soon as Boxer got in that booth, that game was done. And you're exactly right, though, Clutch, because I saw it too, man. He has a new mental attitude, and you don't see those early GGs anymore. You nailed it, because I think that demeanor translated. Again, it may have been one of those things where I think you had to be at the event to sort of get a grasp of that. I don't know if it translates via camera, but he had swagger, man. That kid was not. He was there to win.
Yeah, he was. He was. But we'll talk a little bit more about that series later on. But that was a lot of fun to watch. It was very emotional. Polt had a great showing at MLG, but that's how the cards were dealt, guys. As far as the broadcast, we weren't able to show these matches.
It's so ironic.
On the streams. So.
It's so ironic. He's known for being not known. I mean, he won the Super Tournament for GSL, and everyone's like, Polt who? Optimus? Back to Polt? And then he comes to MLG, and still... I got a story to tell about that later, though, with Nexi's permission, actually, Andreas. So, but I'm sorry, continue, Clutch.
No, it's true. But we have a great community caster program. If you guys have checked out MLG.tv, we'll have these replays after the events that we can have our community casters cast. We're trying to get those Polk games casted, try to get those out to you guys, get some good talent to cast those games. Because... And, here at MLG, we want to show you guys the best games. And honestly, we have so many good players coming in, so many good matches that are occurring. This is why we had 2 more streams. But even those 2 streams can't cover every awesome match. So we heard the cries on Reddit, and we want to show our love to Polt, that he is an appreciated player. Obviously, he's one of deep skill and patience.
Speaking of the streams and stuff like that, did the Polt versus Gosu user series get shown up? That's one that people need to look out for. Then.
Yeah.
Well,
that was a huge surprise.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, man. I watched a lot of that series standing right behind Gosu user, and he was doing a lot of like Ling Infestor kind of play, like double Evo Ling Infestor, and he completely outplayed Polt, man. I mean. I talked to Idra a little bit, too, in Orlando, and he said that Korean Terrans really don't have a good grasp of how to play against that Infestor style yet because Ling Muta is so popular over in Korea. But Gosu user completely outplayed Polt in 2 macro games going Ling Infestor and lost. The only game he lost, he tried to do like a big fat Roach all-in, or Roach Ling all-in off, like, I don't know, 30 drones or so to try and kill him really quick in the second game after he'd won the first one, but... I think Polt didn't get a lot of coverage maybe because of that loss. And honestly, the last game he played in the losers bracket, in the open bracket, was against his teammate Alive. I mean, that's a Code-S caliber matchup. That's like a Code-S round of 8 matchup, Pult versus Alive. And did one of you guys stream that on the beta streams? I don't remember.
I don't think so. Somehow,
I don't
we
remember
even
they did.
stream at all.
Yeah.
Like, the
I
entire
think we
time.
even missed him on beta. I did not, because of course, I felt like Pult is sort of underrated. Adebisi, my second favorite Canadian and also beta stream caster. I know he's not the hugest fan, but I think everybody gives Pult respect, man. And he may not be as well known as he should be. But no, I don't think we caught him on beta stream either, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the replays are there, and so people will be able to see his matches. But yeah, that happens. Gosu user, dude, that guy like came out of nowhere, man. He's from Cincinnati, I think, and he did amazing during the tournament. I actually got to interview him on the floor, and I wanted to ask some questions, just to easy questions, just to get him prepped and whatnot. And he was totally fine to talk to. But once the camera came on, he got shy and he got nervous, and I felt bad for him, But
it happens.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Especially when you're in front of so many people that you can make eye contact with. It's like, they all can see me. But the last question I asked him was, through your performance here, I'm sure you're going to gain a lot of fans. Is there anything you'd like to say to him? And he was like, thanks, fans.
Oh, that was what you threw me off. That was stop using fans. Stop using. That was the question you asked. You're like, Tumba, what's it like, with all your fans? And I was like, did I hear him?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any fans. What are you talking about, son?
And then you fans chant your name after.
They were plants in the crowd. That's why they were chanting. But don't ask about the fans, man.
Well,
it throws us off.
I mean, it's exciting. I thought it'd be exciting for him to know that, hey, a lot of people are going to start following his matches because he's doing so well against these players, especially the Korean players. So
for sure.
I think we're going to see more of him in Providence. I believe he's coming. I'll have to double check on that. But he was a cool guy. I mean, good guy. Kid from Cincinnati, so pretty sure it's where he's from. If I got it wrong, sorry, Gosu
completely
user.
Wrong.
Yeah,
well, and
he's like,
and
no.
Gosu user, he's not completely unknown at MLG tournaments too. I think it was Columbus where he took a game off of Morrow too. I mean, this guy's really good. He's a top GM player in North America, and he really got to show his stuff in Orlando. It was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We come back. MKP got to use Wiggin's keyboard during the whole tournament. We're going to talk about that.
So jealous.
All right. We'll be right back.
Are we just doing 30 seconds, Josh?
Yes.
I think it's Big 15. It says 30 though.
All right, guys, welcome back. So, Dave, Wiggin, MKP used your keyboard through the entire tournament.
Yeah, you want me to just tell the whole story?
Tell the story, my friend.
Okay. So one of the rules we've had for the entire existence of PC games on the MLG circuit, as far as I know, is that you can't use PS2 keyboards because of a bunch of different issues that I don't really need to get into. But it's a known rule. It's like one of the first things you can read. You can't use those kind of keyboards, right? The Koreans all use these old Qsen keyboards. Well, not all of them, but most of them use them. And some of them are USB, but most of them are PS2. Everyone else was able to get a USB one, but Marine King, I guess, just forgot or didn't know or whatever. And he had a PS2 keyboard, and no one had another one that he could use. So I was talking to Milkus, and Milkus was asking to look at the loaner ones we have. They're Alienware keyboards. And I guess Marine King, he really didn't look very happy with it. Like, he really looked bummed out. And I told him, I'm like, well, you know, I have this Razer. It's a mechanical keyboard. It's a Razer Black Widow. And let him take a look at it, and maybe he can, you know, maybe he'll want to use that instead. And if he does, whatever. You know. So he looks at it. He's looked really happy. Gave a thumbs up. He's like, yeah. He's like hitting buttons, you know, like. And I'm like, all right, well, hey, he can use it. And he's like, and Milk's like, for the whole tournament? I'm like, yeah, for the whole tournament. So he's practicing with it. Wow. And he seemed like he didn't have any problems or anything like that. So I was like, all right, you know what? I tell you what. If he wins the whole thing, he can keep it and use it in GSL. And he's like, what, really? I was like, yeah. Fuck it, man. Go for it. Like, good luck. And so he's messing with it, and he pulled, I don't know if I can actually lift this up. Here's the keyboard, and there's these macro keys that are normally here. They're like, you can actually like set different like buttons to them and stuff like that. And we pulled those off because he didn't want them and taped over it and stuff like that. And
really?
Yeah. He
modded the keyboard on the fly. He was like, I don't like these buttons.
Yeah, because I guess the way
Can you make these gone? Let's get some tape.
Well, it was actually funny because Milkus.
I'm gonna rip stuff out of my keyboard right now. That might help.
It's not even a bad idea if there's stuff that gets in the way.
Yeah.
But
keep your F4
Milkus
key.
ran over and was asking. He's like, oh, F4. Keep your Idra keys. So yeah, he ran over and he's like, oh, can you pull these off for us? Because I don't know if it'll break it. Like, I've never pulled a key off a keyboard before.
Yeah, you can
just let Marine King do it. Like, if I'm probably just gonna break it. So yeah, I mean, did all that. He did well with it. He thanked me a lot afterwards. I got him to. Actually, I don't know if it's still in there. Got him to sign the bottom.
Nice.
But it's the only keyboard I have, so I'm still using it. So it's probably gonna get rubbed off.
Put that in glass.
Yeah, you think I actually have a bunch of cool stuff that I got signed. But yeah, I mean that's basically it. I didn't get to talk to him too much during the tournament. Obviously, he was busy. I was busy. But he seemed really happy with it, and it seemed to go pretty well. He didn't win it, so he didn't get to keep it. But
oh, yeah.
And a lot of people, especially on Reddit and stuff like that, were asking if I would consider like raffling it off or selling it. I wouldn't sell it. I thought
You'd
about
sell it for charity.
Sell it for charity. Yes.
I might sell it for. I could understand selling it for.
I'd sell it for $100K.
Yeah. What's that charity called? The Tumba Fund?
Child's Play?
Yeah, the Tumba Fund.
Tumba
That's
Fund.
it.
The Tumba Fund.
Yeah.
Call it the Blue Flame Hellion Drive. Oh wait, I'm not Terran. Whatever. I still say, you know what though? That's what works in barcraft. Like, there needs to be. I was joking. There needs to be drinks with names. They can be non-alcoholic. Shirley Temple could be like a zealot. I don't know. But the Blue Flame Hellion. You can light the drink on fire. Awesome.
I know. I've actually seen a barcraft menu that has like a drink called like the Blue Flame Hellion.
Throw some Hypnotic
great
in
drink
there,
name.
man. It'd be perfect.
The nuke. Let's get nuked. Come on, guys. Let's get nuked.
Oh man.
Nuked on
We
the
can get some
rocks.
great drinks going.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Themes. Those themes at bars. They could do it, man.
Yeah,
they can
man.
do it for Halloween. They can do it for barcrafts for sure. Wiggin, as a ref, you saw a lot of matches. Any matches you particularly would like to see casted that missed? Anything crazy?
A lot of them, they did a really good job of actually casting most of the really big matches. But let's see, that definitely absolutely that Ghost User versus Polt. Like, I watched that from Polt's perspective, and it was like a Terran nightmare. Like, he gets his 3 bases, he gets ready to move out on like Antigua, I think, and then suddenly there's like 6 or 7 ultras and a bunch of lings, and
Whoa.
just
Infestors,
crushing into his army at like the 15-minute mark. Like it,
Whenever you see
it looked
6 or
bad,
7 ultras, I do this. I just go, oh gosh.
like
It's
I
dumb.
saw his eyes, and it was like he's like, Polt always has that little smile. He's like,
Can I
and then
jump?
just ultras, like,
Yeah.
Can
I
I
do
jump
this.
in on this point real quick?
When I see 7 ultras, it's over. Go ahead, Omerta.
Hopefully, one of you guys, Tumba, Nursky, somebody, one of the community casters, maybe myself, will cast Hate Pro versus TLO. I saw literally the craziest Zerg versus Terran on Shakuris that I've ever seen, At one point, HeyPro was neural parasiting the 6 or 8 ravens that TLO had and used them to hunter-seeker missile TLO's ravens.
I think
So-
Nursky did that one.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't checked it, but that series was just unbelievable. At least that first game was just absolutely just ridiculous.
It's
I refuse to cast any games off replay for MLG after being at the event because there's so many good community casters. Like, I'm not going to name them all, but there's tons of good ones. Like, you know, Duckville and Axel and just the guys, all of them. I hope they get all the good replay. I mean, hopefully they get a lot of the good Polk games too. Because the MLG community casts are something I enjoy personally as a fan. I think they're fun to watch. I hope those guys get them. Galen, I know you've got one on there. Just checking out.
I did. I did one from Raleigh, I think it was.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll
It was
do some
Pretty
more.
awesome sauce.
I really
Who
like
did the
casting.
graphics on
So.
those?
yeah. There were some
Yeah,
very
yeah,
good
this
graphics
guy-
on those. Yeah.
This guy right here did
That
some
Wig-
awesome
That
graphics.
Wiggin guy, he's good with the graphics. Yeah.
6,000 hours in paint.
Yes,
Yep.
and he has good he has good friends to point him in the right direction of where to get software for that.
It's true.
So
Oh,
well-
sorry. One more series that should be casted.
Mhm.
Just while we're still on the subject. Actually, I don't know if it was casted. Was Marine King Prime for Struby casted?
yes, it was by Nursky.
dang
It
it.
was by Nursky.
Like, it was a really bad series by Marine King, but purely for like entertainment value, watching somebody nuke his whole army thinking he's ahead and then just losing the game. It's pretty
I've
awesome.
seen the video. I've seen the video from Nursky's cask, and Nursky's like, he just nuked his whole army. Like, he was trying to figure out what was going on, and it was nuts. He did a good job on that one, man. To Drewby's surprise and Leia's surprise, his girlfriend watching beating MKP was kind of crazy, man. Reddit. I know posts on Reddit were like, yeah, we sent money to this guy and he nukes his own armies. What's going on, dude? But the love from Reddit, man, for MKP to make it there, that's pretty cool that they put all the money for him to come over to MLG. That's pretty sweet. And also, it was funny because I was going back and forth backstage, obviously red stream, blue stream, trying to get content out there to fill time, get people to interview. And people were like, hey, man, you're on Reddit, you're on Reddit. I'm like, great, I'm being crucified on the internet. They're like, no, they love you, they love you. It's like, what?
Just that one interview. That was a little...
Oh, I bombed that bomb interview. Pun
If you're
intended.
going to bomb one interview, at least it's one you can make a pun about.
Yes, exactly. And that was totally my fault. What had happened is I was thinking about the bio builds from MMA and the mech builds from Boxer and how Bomber was incorporating just the straight-up Marine siege tanks during that matchup. And I was trying to ask, do you think that any of that's going to change with Heart of the Swarm? And it was a stupid question because it's such... Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going to happen in Heart of the Swarm. This is before BlizzCon had happened. And when I was thinking about it in my mind right before I asked it, it was like, you have to get this translated into Korean and then back to English. This isn't going to work. And so I went full retard and it came out stupid. And his answer was great. He said Marine is the most important or most powerful unit. That's true. I mean, it is.
It's pretty true. It's pretty true.
That is the heart attack moment,
but-
though, because I can relate to that. Same thing happened. Like, they came up like, oh, you got a Reddit post. It's top 12 on Reddit. And I'm like, just let's go to the room now. Get the car, because I know they got pitchforks. It's beta stream. I knew this was going to happen. They're like, no, it's good. I'm like, thanks for trying to make me feel better. Like, no, I swear. And you know what? I didn't read it until yesterday, honest to God. I bookmarked it and didn't even want to see it at the stream. But somebody compared me to John Kruk, the old baseball player. So I'll take that as a compliment.
Okay,
though.
right
Facial
on.
hair, but
Right
yeah.
on.
I know that feeling of terror, though, Clutch, because Reddit, it's always like, there's no in between. It's either awesome sauce or I'm gonna go home and go fetal position again and cry.
Yeah,
again, so.
and my goal was when I found out that I'd be doing this, is like, okay, I know StarCraft 2. I've been playing since beta. I've worked at MLG for over a year, just behind the scenes. I'm not gonna pull Lindsay Spore. And so, like, in my mind, I got to interview Boxer, dude. I was like, that was such an amazing moment. I got to do that on the Blue stream. And after it, I was like, I pray that I did not say Bomber instead of Boxer. And I knew I didn't. But it's just that thought of, I didn't make a mistake, did I? I didn't make a mistake. But it came naturally after a while. Interviews spot on are not easy because you have to think
I gotta give you credit, man, because not only are they not easy, but you just mentioned like the language barrier. So you have to think up questions on the fly to be translated to come back, and a little bit has to get lost in truth. I don't know how you did it, man, because and people are like, oh, less crowd shots, more interviews, and they don't understand also like stuff's happening live, and they're like, Clutch, we need you to fill 6 minutes, go. You got to interview White Raw.
Pick somebody.
Pick somebody. Hey, White Raw, come here. Let me freestyle some questions for you. I mean, it's people really don't understand the full back end of what you do, man. A lot of other people would have crashed and burned. Seriously, man, you did a great job.
Well, thanks, and I mean, dude, it's the players and the fans that I get to interview as well that were so ready for the questions. Seriously, this is what happened day one. Okay, we're about to go live. We went through the different camera shots. I got my nice sport jacket on and a nice button-up shirt, and I'm like, okay, this is for real. Here we go. And the producer's like, who do you want to interview? Grab somebody. And I'm looking around, and I see White Ra. And I've interacted with Ra before, last year and a half or year at least. And so it's like, hey, you want to do an interview? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, perfect. And seriously, man, it was like divine intervention almost. Like these questions just pop into my head and flowed naturally. And the crowd was so pumped. And I thought that was such a great way to start it off. But, these guys, they're so used to getting interviewed and so used to these questions. And just to hear their fans cheer for them is worth it. Is totally worth it. And it's not about me. It's about them. I wanted to ask questions that were more engaging other than, hey, you just won. How do you feel? What's your favorite team? How are your ZVG matches?
Well, you got some constructive criticism though.
I did.
You did from In Control, who would rather see you. I guess I just throwing this out there. I may or may not agree with him. Wants to see you in heels and a skirt next time. Just saying.
Yeah, that's.
You have nice calf muscles, I must say. So you could pull the heels off, Clutch.
They are well defined.
They are well defined. You can do it, man.
It's my years of sports. Anyway, but it was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And just the crowd was so pumped. And yes, you will see more of me at Providence. I'm really excited for it. And thank you to everybody behind the scenes that made that happen. It really was a dream come true. Seriously. And then I got to interview Tasteless, and I got to be on stage with all of them at the end. Now, I don't want to boast, but it wasn't a cakewalk. Like, I was all over the place making sure we had content, working with the producers and whatnot. And also, like, not doing too much at once and trying to have, like, if I had Chef ready for an interview and he's waiting for 30 minutes, that's terrible. I would never want to do that for a player. They're trying to watch the games or enjoy their tournament. But, it gelled. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to more of it in Providence. So, Chef was a really nice guy, too. He really is the nicest guy in esports. He's awesome.
We're not exaggerating when we say that.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Chef, you're an awesome dude. Okay. We talked about Editor. We talked about Huck. I want to talk about just a little bit more of Orlando. We're going to move into BlizzCon. The greatest series from the tournament, my opinion, was Idra versus Boxer. That 7-game series was so amazing, and you guys couldn't have seen it. I was watching the show, and some of you guys, Tumba, you might have been there. I'm not sure, but the crowd in the back of the production area, because we have a monitor there to watch, and just people's hands over their mouth, like waiting in anticipation what was going to happen. The emotions were so high. The stakes were so high. Huge fan of Boxer. I was also happy that Idra was doing so well, and so it was almost like I wasn't going to be very disappointed if one of them lost. And man, I mean, the SCV bunker rushes, it was nuts, dude. And Artosa said it best: if there was one match you had to watch from that tournament, it was that match. Galen, what do you feel was the most important or your favorite series from the tournament?
Well, I'm going to kind of agree with you on the Idra Boxer series and then go to another one. I think watching Idra in that series recover from all those cheeses and come back to win was like a stepping stone for him. I feel like Idra 6 months ago would have quit in the middle of that extended series and lost to Boxer. Yeah. But he stood strong and was able to come back and win that series. But I think the most impressive series from the weekend was Idra versus Bomber. I think Bomber's a much better player than Boxer, as much as it pains me to say it, because Boxer is such a legend in StarCraft. But in StarCraft 2, I think Bomber's a better player, and I think those 3 games were just unbelievable, and I think Idra played at the level of any great Zerg in Korea. I think he played at a top-tier level and was able to take down one of the best Terran players in the world, so
Yeah.
that was my favorite series from the weekend.
Cool. Tumba?
Nah, Idra Boxer. I mean, because of what Galen just said. Because Boxer's a legend, right? And Idra, the storyline between that match, right? Because I know Artosis really liked the Bomber Idra series as well, but the story behind the match was amazing because there was the experience in Anaheim where he had him beat mentally, right? So, I mean, Idra literally just threw those first couple games away. And now we come to this Boxer staying up all night long to practice, not getting any sleep. The shot of him as the last player on deck practicing with everybody else gone, that should be blown up into a poster and be made as like some iconic StarCraft 2 poster, whatever. But I think that was we were discussing it on Stimcast actually. No plug intended, sorry, but we were talking about it, and when you combine the story into it, again, that human element, it becomes one of those things where I'm with you, Clutch. I really couldn't have been disappointed. I mean, I love Idra, and I love how he's progressed, and I love to see players get better, but Boxer's a legend. It's hard to be disappointed in that series, and it went down in my mind as not just one of the best of Orlando, but one of the best of StarCraft 2 in its infancy, in its young life that it's had so far, bar none.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one series to show to people that are just getting introduced to StarCraft, like, all right, you have an hour or two, watch these 7 games. And listen to the commentators and listen to the crowd. You know, watch that. Wiggin, same question, my friend.
Oh gosh, that's. It's just there's just so many good storylines. It's hard to pick a series. Like Marine King's run, you know, being financed by Reddit. Boxer's run just to get to Idra was incredible. That Bomber Idra was probably the best play and the most impressive play. I really actually liked, even though it was PvP, Huck versus MC, because it was really interesting to see Huck just completely dominate MC.
Yeah.
Basically, and it was really cool to see Huck just like almost like he matured as a player. Like before, you know, MC would win, then they would kind of trade matches, and now it's just Huck dominating. So that's great to see, but. That Boxer match, man, it was like, yeah, you could just see it. You could, like, Idra just completely dominating the first series. Just, like, literally just destroying Terrans just by building just so many freaking moves. And then watching Boxer, like, it's like he got younger again and just got his magic back.
Yeah.
And just became Boxer again. Just doing the most ridiculous things to win.
The most ridiculous cheeses.
Whatever. Yeah, look, dude, it's not cheese and Boxer.
Dude, you do what you got. Right? Yeah, and exactly, Wiggin. No, you do what you got to do to win, man. It doesn't matter.
And then seeing Idra, a guy who would quit when his opponent blows up his own command center, like just hunker down in in Alex Garfield walking in and talking to him, and just coming back.
Now. That could be a show not unto itself, because I thought that was a little bit over the top. I don't think that could have had a negative effect. Sorry, I don't want to go off on turn this one off the road, but
that's all right.
Glad you mentioned.
Yeah, and just like you could see him get mad, and then he like hit a point. It's almost like a turning point in his career where he was like, you know what, F it, I'm just gonna play my game, play a macro game and win. And then he ends up winning. Yep. And I don't know who I wanted to win more, man. I love Boxer.
Idra,
but it was
man, you
really
gotta
great to see Idra. That's
gotta root for
Boxer. That's what I said. Like,
I know.
It's hard to be. How could you be disappointed in that series? How could you? I mean, here we are still talking about that series. Like, it's impossible to be disappointed. I think because you've got a foreigner versus a legend, and the legend playing very well, and the foreigner playing very well, and both overcoming obstacles to get there. So
yeah. Well, let's shift gears and talk about Providence.
Can I give one shout out first before we get off that? I'm so sorry.
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead, Dumbo.
Okay. I have to say, guys, you guys may not know who he is. The very first StarCraft tournament I ever ran back with ASCW was the Well Played Open, and Doro won it. At the time, it was Root Doro, then it became Val Doro. battled his way all the way through open bracket to pool play. So, big shouts out to him too. He did a great job at Orlando, and really shy guy. I know, like you were saying.
Lots of awesome cannon rushes from Dodoro, man. Or
hey,
no,
man.
not cannon rushes, proxy 2 gates. Lots of awesome.
Whatever it takes to win, man. Whatever it takes.
Hey, no, hey, I'm seriously not hating on him. He had incredible micro during those 2 gates, man. He was out microing the crap out of his opponents. So.
Yeah, I casted the tie that Wiggin refed between Doro and Tyler, and I called him Dodoro for the whole thing because I'm still not even sure. I think it is just Doro though, but everybody calls him
Doro. Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, whatever you call him, man, hats off to you. You played a great tournament, so there you go.
Well, for this next tournament, Providence, November 18th through 20th, I believe, the hotels were sold out. I think within a couple days. I mean, just boom! It's crazy, man. The amount of people that are going to be there. It is really exciting. They did throw out a couple more StarCraft 2 competitor passes for some people that want to get there. I'm sure they're already sold out by now. I'm not specific on which date it was. Yeah. Dude, I mean, this is a culmination of a year of esports for MLG with StarCraft 2 being like the headline game. I mean, it wasn't the main stage at the beginning of the 2011 Pro Circuit, but it is now. And the crowds have been continuously incredible. The stream numbers have been record-breaking every event, and I think this event is going to be the best one yet. So I'm really pumped for it. As always, you guys know Sundance. He's always trying to improve, to make it better, not be completely satisfied, and see what we can do better. There are going to be 2 more screens, as you guys know. That was announced.
So glad they're
which is
doing
pretty
that.
cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
The player perspectives will be displayed. So 3 screens to watch in StarCraft 2, so that's going to be very exciting. And we're going to keep the schedule that we have pretty much, so we can continue to have games on Red and Blue Stream and the other beta casts, I believe. So we are going to continue to have that content coming out to you guys. So, stay tuned. Keep on the MLG website for more information about Providence, and start organizing those bar crafts now, or RSVP, because they're going to be packed. Freaking Montreal had 600 people, man.
I wish I could go to a bar craft, man. I have to work.
Yeah.
I love it.
You gotta work it. But it wouldn't happen without you, Galen. All right, let's... Providence, I mean, we got MVP, we got NST coming. I believe MMA's coming back. And this is like the Titan clash of all these amazing players. And having MVP and NST there, I think, will get rid of the argument of, well, yes, the foreigners are doing great, but they're not up against the top-tier Koreans. I think that... Bomber and MC was in a bit of a slump, but he's back now in Codas. Congratulations to him. It's fantastic.
Called it.
Yeah, I mean, there's another story, man. There's another storyline that's awesome to follow. Yeah. But this is it. And I don't think there's going to be any more excuses about, like, oh, these aren't the top-tier Koreans there. But speaking of Koreans, bro, there was a couple pro Brood War players at BlizzCon, and that was kind of exciting to see. And then we saw Slasher's post with his sources on those interviews or those announcements of these teams training for StarCraft 2 in a changeover. It's not going to happen overnight. I mean, these guys are still getting money from Brood War.
They're not going to make it to Providence.
Yeah, they're not. They're not going to be at Providence. But I think that these players saw the crowds at BlizzCon and they were like, "Wow, it's this big here." Or StarCraft 2 is this big.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool. So let's shift gears now and talk about BlizzCon. Galen and I had the wonderment of attending. This was my second BlizzCon. Galen, your first.
It was my first, yes.
So after shifting through all the WoW nerds, what was it like for you to attend a BlizzCon?
I mean, there's so much to talk about. I mean, I was so excited to go and play Heart of the Swarm, and I was excited as a Protoss player to see what kind of new units we were going to get, and I was thoroughly disappointed, but I really had fun playing with the new Zerg and Terran units. As far as the crowd goes, it was nothing like I've ever seen at an esports event. I mean, the crowd was so big and so loud. Like, every time the crowd cheered at BlizzCon, I had goosebumps all over my entire body. It was really incredible to see. Like, just how big and how loud the crowd was, just unbelievable. And it was really cool. I got to go on camera as well for the first time. Well, I guess I got on camera a little at Orlando too, but
Yeah.
I got to go out and, do some video stuff, and just the whole coverage of the whole event and everything was really, really cool, man. I had a lot of fun out at BlizzCon.
Yeah, it was a blast. I felt that the MLG coverage was fantastic. I felt Team Liquid also did a great coverage. Huge shout out to Kennegat for his great work out there. He was actually originally going to be on the show tonight, guys, but he had a family emergency, and fortunately Tumba was able to come in on short notice.
I'm not as handsome as him, nor as knowledgeable, but I try.
Yeah, I felt that his coverage was great. I got to meet Diggity out there. So a lot of people that that cover esports in general, and also specifically for StarCraft 2, was there. And Heart of the Swarm, man, I'm sitting there in the main stage. I'm sitting next to Lee Chen, MLG Lee, and Mr. Che, and we're watching the videos. And when the Heart of the Swarm video came out, I'm like, okay, I'm watching the single player storyline. I'm interested in that. It's cool. Kerrigan's really pissed off. Okay. And then they show the units, and we're like jumping out of our seats in craziness, dude. Especially with the Viper doing that.
The
that
Viper
move
is
when
the
it,
best,
Clutch
man.
will be playing Zerg. I guarantee he'll be
Probably
I'm switching to Zerg too, man.
probably
If they
switch.
leave the Viper the way
But when it
is.
pulled that Colossus off that cliff, dude, that was it. I was freaking out, man. This
too.
this was such a huge game changer, and I'm so excited for it. I got to play all 3 races. I got to play. Oh, I'm gonna get into Diablo 3. You kids aren't ready for Diablo 3, man. Oh my gosh, the PvP in that's so incredible. Anyway,
What's up, son?
so let's talk about the units. I know JP went over this to state of the game. Those guys did a fantastic job, so we don't have to go into the specific details. Galen, it's going to be mostly you and I, but Tumba, Wiggin, if you have any thoughts as far as observing. But as far as playing the units, I'm going to start off with Terran, okay? The regeneration on the Reaper, sweet. Great idea. I like it. They seem like a bit of a more useful unit mid-game. However, will I ever use it? I don't know. Probably not, but it adds something. The Warhound, the most ugliest unit. It looks
I'm the
terrible.
only one who likes that thing.
No,
It
Blizzard
reminds me of
needs-
Mech Assault. Dude.
Mech
No,
Assault,
no.
yeah.
They need to
just
call
like,
it a
yes.
Goliath, make it look like a Goliath, and just put it in the game as a Goliath.
It just
Just
Well,
do
that'd be
that.
nice, but-
the role it fills is perfect because I always felt that
Yeah.
the Thor is such a great unit, but it doesn't counter Muta.
No, you're right, Clutch. The Terran, if anything, they need a role to fill. You're spot on with
Terran-
that. Good call, buddy.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That-
all right.
sure.
Hold on. We'll get to the other races. I just want to
Sure,
talk.
yeah.
I want to talk about
Take
my
your
Terran.
time, buddy.
Okay.
Take your
All
time.
right. So yeah, they should just call it a Goliath, round it out a bit, and make it a little bit of a nicer unit. Fine. If they don't do it, okay, whatever. That's cool. It just adds a little bit more to taking care of Muta, and then that attack against the mech I found to be interesting. So it's kind of like a counter siege tank thing, which the Thor was kind of that role sometimes with big no man's land builds of siege tanks. Anyways, the Shredder, it's like a spider mine except radioactive, and it can do damage against air.
Awesome.
No, it's a Psy Storm that sits in the middle of the map. That's what it is.
Okay.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm so happy. I finally get to go Mech in every match.
But what else we got? We had okay. The coolest thing I found in all of Heart of the Swarm for Terran was the boost ability on the battle cruiser. I built some battle cruisers. I'm like, I wonder what this does.
Yep.
You press the button, the sound effect's awesome, the visual's cool. I mean, just the thrusters activating. But just seeing the battle cruiser go that fast, I'm like, whoa, man, it's a sweet. Goodbye kiting for 20 seconds, and then the cooldown happens. But
Did they call it Flux Veins? Wasn't that the name of it?
Oh, Tumber, you're breaking my heart right now, man.
Oh, Tumba.
yeah,
I love Flux.
You know, you could just-
Flux Veins was my favorite upgrade.
yeah. You know, they were gonna just have the battle cruiser automatically mine minerals what they're next to as well, and you don't need those anymore. But I
Hey,
think
man, they gave that to the Corruptor, man. The Corruptor, like, mines minerals
Yeah.
now
So
when it
good.
attacks buildings. So.
David Kim asked me
That's how
personally.
it's
He
at.
says, you know, what do you think about the Corruptor? It's like, well, I did the I think what it's called siphon or something when you
Yeah, siphon, yep.
you do damage to a building, and the damage that you do harvest minerals and I believe gas, and it's like you do 10 damage, does 10 to your economy. And I found it to be like another roll the dice, like let's try this and see what it does. It doesn't add to the ball of death, but it's like, when would you use it? Taking out an expansion and then rolling in 2 corruptors to take down the missile turrets and add a little bit to your economy. It's kind of that situational thing. But guess what? The pro players, I'm sure, will figure it out if they keep it in the game, or at least throw it out in beta. How it'll be used.
I think just the damage to buildings alone would have been good enough. I don't understand why they have to give you mineral income for doing it. I don't know.
Look, Zerg definitely needs more air-to-ground harassment ability. Let's be honest here. It's their biggest problem.
Obviously.
Yeah, those mutas are just not cutting it, right? Yeah. Okay, and for Terran, what else? Oh.
Battle Hellions.
Yeah, the Battle Hellions. Wiggin had a great question, and I haven't been able to research this as far as the transforming into the armored mode. What percentage of health from, or HP, the damage done in battle mode to the regular Hellion mode? I'm not sure. It's a good question. But the transformability is always cool to watch. The flame actually acts differently. In Heart of the Swarm, it's more of like a gas flame, like a propane flame. In Wings of Liberty, it was like that. In Heart of the Swarm, it's more of a liquid kind of animation, which I thought was interesting with the change. And the Hellion does look a little bit different because of the transformability. Anyway, yeah, dude, Charge Zealots, it really helps out against that. So
does it really? Like, I'm a little worried that it'll actually be worse against Charge Lots because you can't kite anymore.
Well, statistically, the Hellion gets 40 hit points exactly when it transforms into that battle mode or whatever they call it. So,
Battle Hellion, yeah.
What is that? 3 extra swipes from a Zealot that it'll get, and infinity extra hits from a Zergling?
Galen. Let's just think about this logically from a Protoss perspective. Don't forget, we are in the PTR, and we've got some upgrades, and they're going to be...
Hey, man, it's going to cost us 50 less minerals and gas.
Yeah. Cheaper upgrades coming, so I don't think they factored that in. It's going to... Getting to 3-3, I think, saves us 150 off freebase.
Yeah, man. It's an incredible boost.
Wiggin might be right here. It might just saw right through him with those charge lots. So
yeah, I think Tumba's been using his StarCraft 2 abacus there to figure out the numbers. That'd be a cool little gift to give to somebody. Maybe.
No, I mean the biggest thing though for the new Hellion transformation is it's just going to add more hit points to a Terran mech army. So it's going to have a lot more sustainability. You know, if you run a bunch of roaches or lings or banelings or whatever into it, it's going to have, 40 plus however many Hellions, or 40 times however many Hellions you have. So, it's just going to give that mech army a lot more staying power.
Yeah. Well, that also gives an opportunity to actually engage in a battle where it's not just this epic battle that's over in 5 seconds. And I know Wiggin loves the idea of trying to make mech work against Protoss. Like, he really wants to do it, but I don't know if it's going to be
against me before, man.
Yeah, I mean, but no, it's a cool thing, right? Because it's cool though, right? Because it's different. But I think that in Heart of the Swarm, if the engagements become more of a decision making over a longer period of time, like you have time to transform units, you have time to re-engage, and the whole battle doesn't come down to, 8 seconds total. So I think what you're saying I think that's where they're going with it. It sort of adds to that a little bit, which is cool, man, because I think that'll add more depth to the gameplay.
Yeah, one thing about, all specifics of the units and stats aside, I really like how they're, what they're going for with these units. They're trying to make mech more workable and trying to spread the fights out, trying to let you, deny areas with different units for all the races. And it just seems like it's sort of shifting a little bit more towards a Brood War style of late game, which is really cool because, being able to 1A a death ball into a death ball is neat, but it's hard to determine who's really a better player in that. It just seems like they're adding more opportunities to
you're right. I mean, you said it best. I mean, it's like, oh, look, the Ghost got their EMPs off, Terran wins. Oh, look, great force fields out of the Protoss, Colossus going to slice and dice. You know what I mean? Oh, he was prepared for Muta. It's exactly what you're saying. Like it sort of becomes like a very ABC. You almost know what's going to happen. If A happens, then we're going to see Z result. But,
Well, these units they're introducing are trying to get away from the Ball of
Yeah.
Death. I mean, the Ball of Death is always going to exist, but they didn't want to add more units to it. And I mean, look at the Shredder. The Shredder deactivates if you have any friendly units inside of its radius. I mean, that's obviously not going to be added to the Ball of Death, but it's more of a kind of either an expansion, defense,
Spider mines,
or well, yeah, or you can use
it
them.
cuts down attack paths. I mean, it's going to limit
Yeah, it's
options
about-
on attack paths.
Exactly.
For sure.
So you can try to focus or bottleneck them. Okay, so that's all I can remember from Terran as far as what I played and my impressions of playing the game. Zerg, yeah, I might switch, dude. I had the great fortune to play with Nick, the guy that won the Ultimate Gaming, the Dr.
yeah,
Pepper
we had
Ultimate
him.
Gaming House.
Yeah, we had
He's a
him
cool
on
kid,
Steamcast.
man. He's good.
Awesome.
He's good
Awesome
at
kid.
StarCraft. Him and I went
Passion.
head to head in Heart of the Swarm at BlizzCon, and I made a bunch of Hellions and was wrecking his expansion and trying to deny his third, but he got his third off. And then I switched to a bio mech build with siege tanks, and he rolls up with swarm hosts and roaches, and the siege tanks annihilate my own forces because those locusts are coming in, and it was just like they don't die. This was nuts. It blew me away, dude. Zerg, that swarm host and the different units it has now, especially the Viper with blinding cloud, and what is that ability, Galen, where it uses that grapple hook?
I can't remember. I can't even remember the exact name of it. They
Yeah.
call it the
A code
grabby
word
arm
for it,
thing.
like the gotcha or whatever. Like
Yeah.
Didn't get all, but
The
cool.
get ready for a surprise is what
Yeah,
it's called.
or let's do a Mortal Kombat reference. The get over here. We'll
Yeah.
call it that.
Yeah. Let's take a quick commercial, and we're going to get into the Zerg. So we will be right back. Stay tuned for more Shifting Gears right here at MLG.TV. All right, guys, welcome back to Shifting Gears. We're going to jump right into talking about the Zerg, Heart of the Swarm. Let's see. Okay, we have the Viper with its abilities. Okay, the Swarm Host, the Locust, can do 14 damage each. And the spawn time from the Swarm Host for the Locust is, I think, 15 seconds? I don't remember.
25.
25 seconds? Yeah, it
Yeah,
seemed
it
like a
was
little
25.
bit. But if you have
Yeah.
4 of them and you have them outside somebody's base and you send them in and their siege tanks that hit them initially and absorb that damage, then you roll your roaches in, they're very effective. Actually kind of crazy effective. Man. So, dude, Hydralisk, now with the speed upgrade, when Dustin Browder said that at the panel, people were like, yes, finally! Like, you could hear all the Zerg players just stand up and go nuts, which was pretty cool. So they have that. It was kind of interesting because a lot of people thought that the Hydralisk was going to morph or transform into the Swarm Host, but that wasn't the case. You have to have an Infestor Pit in order to make a... no. Do you? Wait. Yes, you have to have an Infestor Pit in order to make a Swarm Host. You only have to have a layer to make a Viper.
Yep.
Yeah. And they can throw Detect on any unit, which is cool. It lasts for a little while. What else, Galen? What other units were there for?
Burrowed Baneling movement.
Oh,
Yeah. And the Ultra.
Yeah, clutch, break that set, go, 840, snap them.
And the
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when I found
That's
that
why
out.
your subconscious forgot it. You're like, I choose not to remember this. It may not happen.
the
That's
Ultra's
I'm not even too worried
chargeability
about
too.
that.
Let's
It's
not
the Ultra
forget about
Charge that like
Yeah.
has a lot more worry.
Oh yeah.
Can you burrow ultras too?
They have that.
They have
Yeah.
a burrow
yeah.
charge. Like
So you can burrow and then be like,
So
surprise!
yeah, exactly.
Ultra in your face!
Let's
Gotcha.
let's say this business card is the Terran defenses against Zerg. It's that thin, okay? And then you have an Ultralist that can go under that and just wipe out your entire barrier ball right behind it. I mean, it's crazy. It seriously. I mean, that move is great for Zerg. It really is, because that was an issue with the Ultralists. Was that they were too big or bulky.
Yeah, the
got in
tapping
the
was
way.
terrible.
Yeah.
It is terrible.
Oh, well, back to the Thor real quick. The Thor is now an epic unit. You can only build one.
Like
Um,
mother.
Like a
Ooh,
mothership.
that worked
exactly.
really well for the mothership.
Yeah,
That's-
I mean, I love the Thor. It was cool to see the barrage ability, but it's almost like the design team's like, we can't remove the Thor. Somebody made a bet and it has to stay in the
No,
game.
They
or
needed to
something,
just
so.
take it out.
We'll see what happens
Should
with
just
it.
take it out.
But yeah,
Like I don't know
okay.
why they want to hang on to the Thor that much, but they want to get rid of the carrier.
Yeah. All right. So the bombardment is sweet. It does last a while, but honestly, it's like, who's going to be within range of the Thor? They're going to move. So unless you do a Thor drop, into
That'd be a hell of a Thor.
somebody's base and just bombard all their SCVs. Done.
Sounds like League of Legends to me.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to Zerg. So,
Yeah.
burrow moving banelings, man. Oh my gosh. And you can't
Sorry to get you so emotional.
you can't
Wow.
get them. You can't get them till Hive Tech. That's when you get the
Yeah, right.
upgrade. But still,
Yeah.
man, I build a bunch of them
Still
against the
good.
computer, and I just seeing all those things move under somebody's base, and I felt bad. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. It's cool. Whatever. Just make more,
Well,
missile turn.
I was most impressed by the Zerg changes that Blizzard brought out at BlizzCon. I thought that just their overall desire, it seemed like, to improve melee armies for Zerg was really impressive, because I feel like roaches are the most dominant unit in two of the matchups right now. I think versus Protoss and versus Zerg, you see more roaches than anything else. And even against Terran, if they're meching, or if you just want to do some kind of early roach zergling attack, roaches are really dominant. And I think Blizzard wants to see more larva-intensive melee armies be predominant early, as opposed to the roach armies we're seeing today.
Okay.
And one of the last games I played at BlizzCon was actually against a Protoss player. I was playing Zerg. And I was just going Ling, Infestor, Ultra, Viper. It was just the ultimate melee army for what they had at Heart of the Swarm there. And it was really difficult to control, but also really rewarding to control. So I really just liked the direction they were heading with Zerg. It was more difficult to control, but more rewarding. And the units were fun to play with. I mean, the Viper was fun to use, all of its spells, especially combined with the Infestor. The new Ultralist, the new Baneling, everything was just more fun about Zerg.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other units? I can't think of any other units for Zerg. That's about it.
I just can't wait to see somebody like. This is what I want to see. I want to see like a meching Terran, and someone having Swarm Lords and Brood Lords, and just having an infinite
Swarmhouse,
spawn
yeah.
of like Swarm
Yes.
sorry,
Oh,
of like
gosh.
fuck you onto a point.
Yeah, I mean, mix that with Broodlords, man.
That's
It's
why they put Shredders in, man. And I deal with all the just instant spawn like units you get for free.
maybe. I mean, they can knock them out pretty quick. Protoss. Go ahead, Galen. Talk about Protoss.
Oh, here we go.
Galen,
Yeah,
you did a
really
really
good.
good article, by the way.
Yeah, you did, man. That was.
I read it right away.
As a
getting
Protoss
east.
player, I was most excited to see what they came out with for Protoss, and I was extremely disappointed. The
The only
replicant.
person who's disappointed in Protoss stuff.
No,
I mean, it's been the common. That's not true. Like Galen's opinion's been echoed by a lot of Protoss.
yeah. Well,
And
here's
a lot
the-
of Protoss players are disappointed that they get cheaper upgrades too.
Okay. The floor is Galen's. Go ahead, Galen. Go
we
ahead,
go.
Omerta.
so All right, with Terran, I loved the direction they were taking. They wanted to make the factory more viable. They wanted to make mech play more viable in Heart of the Swarm. I can see that's the direction that they're heading for Terran. With Zerg, I could see that the direction they were heading was making melee armies more powerful, which I was a huge fan of. I thought that was great. With Protoss, they just decided to add a bunch of gimmicky crap. I'm just going to call it crap into the Protoss arsenal. The spellcaster they had out of Stargate, the Oracle, I think that has a little bit of potential. The Replicant, I thought was completely gimmicky. I thought, just the whole idea of copying another unit, that whole concept in an RTS game is just dumb. I think that's a completely dumb idea. And then taking the carry out of the game, just from a personal standpoint, that makes me sad because the carry.
I was gonna get all over that
unit, and the only reason it seemed like the Tempest was put in the game was to deal with mass mutalisks.
Yeah.
It was basically Blizzard saying, hey, there's no way for Protoss to deal with mass mutas, so we're just going to make this unit to replace the carrier that can deal with mass muta.
Here's a flying Thor.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a flying Thor. Yeah,
You could Magic Box Tempest the same way you do Thors and have great success, but I don't know. I was just really disappointed with the Protoss changes.
Okay. Well, these changes aren't finalized.
No.
They could make tweaks and stuff like that. They said this at BlizzCon. They were at the panel.
I mean, they're not even in beta. I mean, they haven't even been tested yet. But I think Galen speaks to a good point where there's a clear pathway that they want to take to sort of form the multiplayer in Heart of the Swarm. And I don't know if Galen's being too tough on the changes, but. Like you said, Galen, I mean, there's a clear path they want to go with Zerg. There's a clear path they want to go with Terran, and then Protoss. It's like they still even have it really figured out yet, right? Because there's been so many issues with Protoss. Like, for every time it ended up getting nerfed, the Foregate, then the Blink, then they're really trying to figure out what to do with the Mothership. Then the Mothership's out. Now they're adding the abilities to the Nexus, which you didn't talk about, actually.
Yeah, well, actually, my most popular article from the entire weekend was about me getting cheesed by one of the new Nexus abilities, which was that Arc Shield turret, and this guy stole my gas super early and put an Arc Shield on it and killed a bunch of my probes. I was really mad, but I don't know. It just seems like the Oracle kind of had the right feel. They want to give Protoss more harassment ability, but it didn't. I don't know. It just didn't feel as focused as the other two races. I felt like they knew exactly what they wanted to do with Terran and Zerg and Heart of the Swarm. And with Protoss, they're just kind of throwing this stuff in there that's a little bit too gimmicky, at least for my taste. I'm sure a lot of people a lot of other people agree too. It felt gimmicky, the new stuff from Protoss.
What about the Replicant?
Speaking of gimmicky.
Yeah, the Replicant was actually the most gimmicky thing I thought. It's 200-200, so 200 minerals, 200 gas, and 4 supply to copy a unit. So the only unit...
And it can't be massive, right?
No.
Can't be massive. I copied an Overlord when I made it. It's like, oh, yay, more supply.
Yes. So no Colossi, no power units of any kind. The only thing that felt worth it for me, at least, for the Replicant was to copy a full energy caster. So say you copy a full energy Templar or a full energy Infestor or a full energy Ghost. You pay 200 gas to copy that. That seems reasonable. But otherwise, what are you copying? You can copy a Void Ray or an Immortal or a Siege Tank, which all costs less than 200, both in the resources and the food cost. I mean, what are you really paying for? The only advantage is that it did have a short build time in the demo that I played. It had a 30-second build time, but I mean, what else seems worth paying that for? I just don't know.
Yeah, and it's kind of a big gamble to throw those minerals and gas into that for not an immediate payoff. But you could, copy an SCV, build a command center, then start dropping mules.
Didn't they say something about not being able to use workers or something like that?
No, they said you can do that.
Right now
Oh,
you
really?
can do it.
Yeah,
for
that was
200 cash, you should be able to do it. But no, yeah, it's. I mean, the Protoss units, as a Protoss player, all I can say is there's no way they're taking the carrier out. It's not going to happen. Like,
I think
I think the fans have sort of spoken on it. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, you can't take the carrier out. So I hope to see that stay. I hope they make some sort of change. I don't even care about the new units. Like, it's too early to speculate in my mind. It's fun to speculate, but I mean, to me, the biggest story with Protoss change isn't the new units. It's taking the carrier out. Like, how do you do that? It's an iconic Protoss unit.
I mean, technically, yes, the carrier was in StarCraft 2, but imagine the Zerg surprise when lurkers were not in StarCraft 2. I mean,
It's true.
But
Yeah.
but what role does the carrier play right now? That's what the problem is.
I mean,
so.
okay, they said they haven't found a way to balance it for SE2, but they haven't made any changes to it whatsoever since day one.
Yeah.
So try something.
I can sort of speak to this. The carrier in and to itself is actually just a really good unit. It's fantastic.
It is
it's
a
just
great
almost
unit.
impossible to get to
Yep.
when a Terran player is going Marine, Marauder, Ghost,
Yeah.
Viking, right? But in Heart of the Swarm, you have what seems to me like an emphasis on saying, hey, Terran players, go mech, right? Like, I feel like they'll probably end up nerfing the Marauder or something like that because they're throwing all these different mech things in. Shredders, Battle Hellions, Warhounds, stuff like that.
Mhm.
In Brood War, what do you see when a Terran player is meching against Protoss? You see late game carriers, and it's an awesome fight.
You see mid-game carriers too,
mid game,
though, man.
yeah, sure.
But the
Yeah,
carrier
you've
was
seen
used
mid-game
differently as
carriers.
well, so I mean,
Well, that's because it's not used at all in StarCraft 2, so yeah, it's definitely used differently.
I mean, the mechanics of it were used differently as well. I think the interceptors wouldn't return as long as you kept moving it. There was a lot of things about it that were
Yeah.
you actually had to micro it.
There was the kiting thing, but I mean,
And interceptors sealed too. So
And plus, like Artosis said too, there are 25 minerals, I think, per interceptor, which is a big mineral dump. Like over time, I mean, those things are so flimsy.
What if the carrier spawned with a full set of interceptors?
you paid for interceptors in Brood War. You paid for
I remember
scarabs in Brood War.
it
Like,
spawns.
but we're
It spawns
getting
with 4 in StarCraft 2. I mean, the carrier is a better unit in StarCraft 2 than it was in StarCraft 1. The whole problem is just actually getting to the carrier, which, I mean, if you have the resources to dump 1,000 gas into getting your first 3 or 4 carriers out, you could have just won with Colossi or Templar at that point.
All right.
In any matchup.
We can go back and forth about carriers. Yes, it's an iconic unit, but Blizzard hasn't made that decision yet.
It's not leaving, I'm telling you.
All right.
be there.
Anything else from
Remember-
Protoss? That's everything we covered, I believe, right?
Yeah, well, the Oracle was kind of a cool idea. That was the unit that I was most impressed with.
Yeah. Throwing the shield set on the minerals was an interesting idea. Doesn't
Yeah.
kill workers,
The
but it still
whole
hinders.
phasing out of buildings seemed really cool. I mean, there's a lot of potential with the Oracle. We'll have to see. I think its Entomb ability, which was the one that let it cover mineral patches with force fields, basically, was way, way too strong in the demo that I played. One cast of it, which was 75 energy, covered about 5 mineral patches. So that was just way too strong. I mean, if you get like 4 or 5 of those things running around in the late game, the way it was in the demo that I played, I mean, it would shut down 2 expansions easily. So I don't know. It was a little too strong.
Arc shield those, by the way, the mineral patch shields or arc cannon or whatever it's called.
I don't think it's technically a building.
I don't think so.
That would be ridiculous.
That would be so
'Cause then you would
abusive
just
and
kill all
awesome.
the workers. There's no way
In-
that would happen
in
unless it was a
PvP
Terran unit.
In PvP, the cool thing was you could use your own Entomb to remove the Entombs from
un-entomb.
your... Yeah. So that was kind of cool, but
I'm more
Entomb was
interested
way
in
too strong.
the phasing out of buildings because it should make it easier for Protoss to expand as well. I would imagine that if they're under siege, they can go ahead and give them a little more survivability to an earlier expo. But I'm not sure how early you can get that out, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It was cool. I mean, it was a way that I don't think it could be used early game. I don't think you could go, say, like, one base Oracle and shut down somebody's tech. But in the mid game, I think it would be a cool way to, like, limit your opponent's tech. You know, like, say, you know, shut down their engineering base to stop them from upgrading. Or, you know, if you scout a Zerg player going Spire, you could say, you know, phase out their Spire to keep them from making mutas. So I think the Oracle had the most potential, but I don't know. It still seemed a little too gimmicky for my taste.
Yeah. Well, a lot of this is theorycraft, though, guys, because these units,
yeah,
I thought, was cool that they introduced these things. They are game changers. They do not add to the ball of death, more or less. And I'm excited for it. But obviously, we're not going to know exactly what happens until we get these dang things tested. And with the beta coming out soon-ish, whenever Blizzard wants to throw it out there. I don't think the beta is going to come out until after Diablo 3 is released, but I could be wrong.
What's the word, man? You guys were there. Like, what's the...
There was no word.
I mean,
Release
there's got to
dates?
be
No.
rumors.
There were no dates given.
Give me something to look forward to here.
No
2012.
dates.
How about Dota? How about Dota? Anything on Dota?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a sec. But I had the privilege of asking Dustin Browder and David Kim at the panel, and MLG got to record it real quick and throw it up on the website. Were there any concerns about releasing Heart of the Swarm during a Pro Circuit season? Where in reality, it seems the only off season for esports right now is going to be the holiday season. It's going to be like mid to late November to January-ish, which is great because these players really need to take a break, visit family, do what they need to do. All of us do. And when it comes to that, though, it's going to be up to the tournaments themselves, and it's going to be up to the community of the pro players of how much time they're going to have playing the betas, how comfortable they are with the different strategies, and when that switch is going to be made is probably going to be that communication between the professional teams, the pros themselves, and the tournament coordinators. Obviously, when Heart of the Swarm is released, there's not going to be some automatic switch that LG is going to pull and say, okay, guess what, pro players, everybody's going to have to play Heart of the Swarm now. I mean, nobody in their right mind would do that because that's not fair to anybody. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Time will tell. When the beta is released, I think we'll get a better idea of what the flow of the games are. But knowing this and knowing that there's going to be even another expansion after that with Legacy of the Void, StarCraft 2 is not finished yet. It's not a finished game. So that is exciting. Another exciting part about Heart of the Storm was a single player, which I got to play. Kerrigan is pissed. That chick has a vendetta.
She is a badass.
She is nuts. I thought she was going to be some goody two-shoes, oh, I need to redeem myself from all the bad I've done. It's like, no, I need to kill everybody who's in my way because I'm going to kill Minx. And use the Swarm to do it. The characters in the Swarm are cool. The people that what do I call them? Creatures you interact with. Abathor almost sounds like the bad guy from Inspector Gadget. He's got such a low voice.
Dr. Claw?
Yeah, almost. He's like,
it's awesome.
I must find the sinews.
That's a win right
like,
there,
okay,
man.
dude, I'll find whatever sinews you need. Just don't blow me up with banelings. And then the chick embedded memory girl they revealed lore-wise was Amanda Haley, I believe, who's a character in the lore. For you lore buffs out there as well, this guy asked about spoilers alert, I haven't played single player. Okay. Dr. Narud and Duran is the same name backwards. And Chris Metzen, the guy had asked, had reiterated the question, and Chris Metzen goes, Duran, Narud, Duran, Narud. He put the microphone down, so that answers that question that people might have had. The flow of Zerg was cool. It did feel Zergy, and you evolve your units based on what you want to do. So you still kind of have that tech tree Terran-wise of what you specifically want. Like a Viking could do this, or no. Your command center could do this or that, like in the Terran campaign. In Zerg, it's like your Zerglings can have more armor, or they can have more attack power or damage, melee damage, and so you get to choose those evolutions. Story-wise, it was cool. Obviously, they didn't reveal too much of what's going on, but Kerrigan seriously is someone to be reckoned with. She is pissed. Release dates, we don't know. That's the official word. Blizzard loves esports. This is so cool. When I asked that question, and if you haven't seen the VOD, go check it out, mlg.tv. Dustin Browder, he says, we made an esport-friendly game. We didn't make esports. Y'all made esports. And he was talking about the community. He was talking about MLG. He was talking about other tournaments. But they did say at BlizzCon that MLG was their favorite tournament. So that's pretty cool. And I had the utmost privilege of talking to David Kim. He came up to me and asked, why is MLG so good? It's our favorite tournament. What do you guys do? And I believe I quoted Artosis, and I said Artosis said it best that the matches at Major League Gaming feel the most important. And as you can see, the series that we had at Orlando, I mean, mentioning Indra and Boxer once again, what an incredible matchup. But there was a bit of outrage, kind of, with the way that Blizzard ran their tournament, as far as the huge amounts of downtime, the close proximity placement in one of the matches.
Yeah, but that got fixed from the fan response, I think, actually.
Yeah. Well, and it's also fans have seen the increase in production value and organization of tournaments over the last year, and so they're expecting, where's the next match? Why is it taking an hour or more for the next match to happen? And I think that people...
I didn't know Rocky was there. That's cool. Yo, Adrian.
Yo,
where's the next match?
What's the next match? So yeah, it was people. I mean, we're trolling. Everybody trolls, or there's trolls everywhere. Like Blizzard should do a better job. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, hey guys, I mean, these tournaments have exploded the last year, and I'm sure Blizzard learned from their mistakes or from whatever had happened that it'll be better next year. BlizzCon was such a blast. There were so many people there. The GSL finals, bro. Oh my goodness, it was so good. And the speech that John gave at the end, he said that what we've done here, money and politics couldn't do. That was beautiful, man. And the crowd there. I believe I had heard JP say that I think there was 12,000 seats in the esports hall, Hall A. And then in the main hall, or was it Hall A? I think it was Hall D, maybe. And the main hall was 15,000 seats, I think, and both of them were full when the GSL was going on, and when the Blizzard Invitational was going on as well. So these crowds were huge, man. It was such an awesome thing to see. And if you can see pictures of the crowd shots, the crowd reactions.
I felt like an idiot.
Yeah.
No, I did, because I could have been there, and it was as easy as leaving on the flight the next day after I dropped you off, and I'm tired. I just got back from Orlando. And then I saw that crowd, and I'm like, I'm dumb. Like, why didn't I go? That was just stupid. Like, that looked amazing.
Omerta, Kyle, I believe his title is Content Director with MLG. He got to interview David Kim. Man, that was a pretty big deal. That was pretty cool. What did you think about the interview? I thought the questions were pretty good. David Kim gave some pretty candid answers. You guys got no mic volume on Galen?
I got nothing on Galen right now. Galen muted himself.
Okay.
He's learning how to use.
There we go. We can hear you.
Go.
We're good.
We're good now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Protoss Micro. Sorry, go.
Wow.
I thought you said
Manner up. Manner up.
I forced
now,
the mute button.
to be honest, man, I was completely jealous of Kyle, man, for getting to do that. I would have loved to do. I would have loved to do that interview, but yeah, it was great, man. I mean, that was an MLG exclusive thing, man. David Kim's never done a one-on-one sit-down interview with anybody before.
It's true.
So it was really well done, and Kyle did a really great job. So
yeah, David Kim, dude, he was so. I mean, he was excited about MLG when he came up to me. He was saying, we watched you guys for hours. We loved it.
Dude, that interview, how engaged was he? He was like going through everything from different regions, experiencing different imbalances to, like, he was into the interview. It wasn't like, okay, yeah, I run the balance squad, slay me. Like, he was giving, like you said, candid answers. Like, that was a great interview. If you guys haven't seen that, check that out, because he was so into it. And I don't mind. I mean, Galen, I'd have been jelly too, being an esports journalist.
So jelly.
You see that? 'Cause the only thing
jelly.
even close I've ever seen was when JP got Dustin and David together. And David didn't even really speak in that one. It was when JP went to visit Blizzard Studios. So I was blown away, because it's always kind of like Wizard of Oz behind the, you never get to see what goes on.
Yeah.
And to see David so just engaged in the conversation was awesome.
Yeah, it really was. And, we see these guys in public, and the appreciation that they get when they come to BlizzCon, I'm sure, is huge. But during all these balance changes and reading the forums, and they probably don't read the forums, but I mean, all the trolls, man, like, I can't believe this, and this happened. And they're the ones that have to come up with the ideas or look at the data crunching and say, it's balanced in this region. These are what the numbers are. Yet in Korea, Terrans are dominating, so we have to address, what's going on here. It's a tough job to fill, but my hat's off to them, man. They have to deal continually with the evolution of the game, the evolution of build orders and strategies, and also to come up with new units to keep the game fresh.
Maps.
New, maps.
They do maps?
They do maps. Yeah, so there's a lot to it. So, so it really was a pleasure to meet him, the lead story writer for StarCraft 2, Dustin Browder. I mean, these guys, they're what makes this game playable, honestly, in an esports format. So it was awesome. All right. So we've talked a lot about StarCraft 2, but shifting gears is not just about StarCraft, guys. This is not another State of the Game copy. State of the Game's a fantastic show. You should watch it Tuesday nights at 11:30 p.m. Central Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. I believe we got the times right. With your host JP, along with other StarCraft 2 pro players. The Blizzard Dota. All right, we're gonna shift gears into this, okay?
So excited.
When I heard about Blizzard Dota, Dave laughs every time I say shifting gears, but it's a theme, Dave.
No, it's great.
It's a theme. The thing about it is, it's not just another League of Legends copy, and I'm going to get into more details right after this commercial. So stay tuned, guys, for more shifting gears.
Damn it.
Shucks.
How much time do...
All right, guys, welcome back to Shifting Gears. Galen had to take off for a second. He'll be right back. Okay, Blizzard Dota. This is not just a League copy. It's not just a Dota 1 copy. I thought it was going to be, and I was like, Blizzard, you missed the boat. I mean, we already have MOBA games that are popular. The style of it is fantastic because you get to use Blizzard champions. So you can use Nova, you can use a Queen of Blades, you can use Tassadar, you can use Thrall, you can use Arthas, and they each fulfill different roles. And there is a laning system, a 3-lane system, but there's also a capture the flag system. And this is what I thought was cool, is that you have 4 mercenary camps that you can capture, and every time you capture a mercenary camp, it buffs your minions. Now, it's interesting when the minions get buffed because they'll turn into different Blizzard characters. And when you have all 4 mercenary camps, the minions come out as Ultralisks, as baby Ultralisks. Which is cool. You have your support characters, your tanks, your DPS, and your siege characters. The Witch Doctor was a siege character. You get to play as General Warfield and a siege tank as a siege character. So it's more casual. I don't think it would be an esport. I mean, it's possible, but I don't think they made it for that. It's more of just a fun, casual style Dota game that you can have a lot of fun with your friends, and that it's fast-paced games. Like, the games will last 20 minutes, and so they're not 40 to an hour long games. They're shorter. It's maybe a nice break after laddering for a couple hours and getting demolished.
That's why a lot of people play League of Legends.
Yeah.
It's a break.
Yeah.
No, serious.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
kidding.
exactly
Like, man,
why
that's
I League
you
of
need
Legends.
like you get your competitive fill from SE2, right? Because let's face it, there's days SE2 isn't fun and it's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So you wind down with League of Legends, and I think this will be a good opportunity for Blizzard to actually capture some of that market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Is it like a full game? I actually don't really know anything about it. I didn't see anything about it.
This is my prediction that it will ship with Heart of the Swarm. As an addition to Battle.net. I don't know if we'll have to pay separate for it. There was
No, it's going to come with the, from what I understand, it's actually going to come with the free-to-play, like the, what's the Blizzard Starter Edition, I guess it's called, for that you can play for SE2 as a demo.
Yeah. You have a
So
starter
it comes
edition.
with that, so it's
Okay.
not going to be, it'll be free-to-play.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the you can choose the colors that your character is, like orange, yellow, pink, purple. So you can mix it up. I was playing with Lee and a couple other guys from MLG, and Lee was Muradin Bronzebeard from Warcraft, and I chose Uther, and I could heal and throw on Divine Shield or Divine Intervention, which made him invulnerable for a couple seconds, and he ulted and went in. We wrecked face. It was fantastic.
Nah.
And it's funny because I said good luck, have fun to the kids, and they went F you noob. And then so at the end of the game,
Sounds like League. Actually.
one of the players goes, we had won, and the guy on our team goes, hey, good game.
It looks cool though, man. I like the fact that all the lore is combined into the Dota. Like that's a cute little.
But it's even from the trailer, it's funny. It's like two gods are battling it out for ladder points, and it's just that's the theme of it. I think the people at Blizzard understood, the MOBA scene is full. I mean, it's got games out there. We don't need to make another League of Legends or Heroes of New Earth or Dota 2 copy. Let's just have some fun with it that you can have fun with your friends. And honestly, it's what it was, and it was a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to play it in the future just to have casual fun with my friends on quick 20-minute MOBA games or Dota games. So, and hey, play as Nova and launch down a nuclear laser, which I think was one of her abilities.
Nuclear laser.
Yeah, it wasn't a nuke itself. It was this like laser that came down, but it had the nuke circle, the nuke ring, and I think it uses a StarCraft 2 engine.
Yeah. It does.
Or
okay.
just the models are bigger. Yeah, they're about like that big on the screen.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I'm glad they're not doing like a full game because I think that would be very strangely timed with League
Yeah.
as popular as it is, and then Dota 2
Yeah,
coming
it
out.
just would feel kind of off. But that was my main concern. But when I saw the trailer at the opening ceremony, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's really funny. But the guy goes coming soon, or no, it says coming soon, and then it goes ish. I think I go seriously, which is true for Blizzard. But it was really cool. Now, fasten your seatbelts, kids, because Diablo 3 PvP was magnanimous. They have changed it up. Last year, it was a 3v3 round-based system, almost kind of like Counter-Strike, where if you died, you had to wait until the match was over when the other people had died and you won the match. This was a team deathmatch format, 4v4. And the classes were totally available. You can pick from any of the 5 classes. You have the Monk, the Witch Doctor, the Wizard, the Barbarian, and the... Oh, geez. I'm blanking. Who am I missing? Wizard, Witch Doctor, Barbarian.
Demon Hunter?
Yeah, thank you. The Demon Monk, Demon Hunter. There we go. And the different abilities are already set for you. You can't mix and match them. You can't mix and match your armor sets for the PvP arena. It's just set to go. And it looks really cool, the different armor sets that they had. And, dude, I was playing as the Wizard. The last match I had, I was with some random guys, and I was up against some random guys. I didn't know anybody there, but I was just cycling through the PvP teams. And the opposite team was like 4 Barbarians and a Demon Hunter, I think. And we were getting blasted. I was playing a Monk as the first time. And a Monk is a good, like, buffer, quick hitter, but against Barbarians that can become invulnerable for a couple seconds and just do tons of damage, not the best class to have. So I said, guys, I'm going to be right back. I come back as a Wizard, quadra kill instantaneously, man. I switch into an Archon, which is like your super kind of mode, and you can do this disintegration ray where it's almost like a void ray that you can move around and just does a lot of damage. And then if they get close, you can launch these arcane blasts, which do a fair amount of damage as well. But the Barbarians were in the center, and they were low on health, and so I just fired that disintegration ray and nuked them all the way down, man. It was awesome. And then at the very end of the match, they were low in the center again, switched to Archon mode, and did another quadra kill. So the last thing I did at BlizzCon is I got 2 quadra kills in one match and Diablo 3 PvP. I loved it.
It's a good way to go out.
It is. The wizard abilities are pretty easy to understand. You have one where you throw a spell. The other one is you launch these kind of missile barrage spells. The other ones you turn into an Archon, and you have more abilities that are you do more damage. You do more damage to those abilities, but you take more damage as an Archon. You have teleport. When you activate teleport, you don't just teleport once, but you can go around the map like 3 or 4 times until teleport will initiate its cooldown, which I thought was pretty sweet. You don't have to. You can just teleport once, and the cooldown will start after you stop teleporting, but it was pretty sweet to have that. And then you had Ice Armor as your defense ability, and those were used with your number keys to switch with abilities, and then your left and right mouse button were the 2 different initiating attacks. The Demon Hunter had this freaking awesome arrow barrage ability that was nuts, and I got really annoying to go up against that. The Barbarian, well, I was using a Barbarian for the first time. I was using, I forgot what it was called, but it's just a swing ability. Like, why am I not doing enough damage? And then I used Hammer of the Ancients, which was my right click, and just started destroying nerd faces. And I was like, oh, that's why. That's what I have to do. And then the Barbarian could switch into an invulnerable mode. That was a beast to deal with, because they'll come up to like, I got this guy, and then he switches to that mode, and like, oh, great, I'm dead. I got to get out of here. Which is pretty cool. They had a leap ability. They could throw this chain out that went into 3 separate. It's like a cone almost, and it would grab any enemies in front of them and bring them to you. So it's kind of like what Scorpion does in Mortal Kombat, except you throw 3 of them. What was the other ability? That's about all I could remember for them. Monk was fast hitting, could do the kick, had a buff. The Witch Doctor, I mean, he could do different abilities. Spirit Walk would get annoying because it would throw up this like zombie that you'd hit and be like, oh wait, that isn't him, and he'd get out of there really quick. He had some good abilities as well, just a lot of spell casting stuff. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it.
Do you know if they'll have any PvP available in like the regular game, or is it just gonna be like arena based?
That's a good question. As far as within the game itself, I'm pretty sure they will, because it was in Diablo 2.
Yes.
I think the Diablo 3 PvP arena. This is my conception of what should happen. This is not the official word from Blizzard. Is that you have PvE, you have World PvP, which Wiggin just mentioned, and then you have the specific PvP arena, where you have those set characters and set skill systems, and that's where you compete for a different ladder point system, which I feel has great esports potential. It's a lot of fun to watch, it's a lot of fun to participate in, and it's really fast-paced. And so I thoroughly enjoyed it. For some reason, I'm thinking I'm missing a class, but I covered all of them.
Oh, I think you got them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wish I could have played more of the other classes, but honestly, I was dominating with Wizards so much that I wanted to stay with there. That's what I do. I mean, I play Morgana all the time in League of Legends, and whenever I branch out of a different
Pretty good champion
class,
Morgana, pretty good.
Morgana is pretty good.
I just hope that they stay like in I don't know how many people like watching or of you guys, Galen and Tumba, like played Diablo 2, but everything was overpowered in Diablo 2, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I played
you had these
tons, man.
Oh yeah, and like I hope they stick with that theme, and it sounds like it with the Wizard. We just like drop double quadra kills left and right. I hope
You remember I remember Arcane Sanctuary? Remember the lanes in Arcane Sanctuary in
The
D2
maze,
where
yeah.
you could just you'd be a warrior and just spin to win way before League of Legends. I mean, you was barbarian and you did that whirlwind attack. That was so awesome. I agree with you, Wiggin, man. Yeah, I hope they keep it that way too. It's good fun.
I know in Diablo 2, I was a horrible person as a kid in Diablo 2. I was a PKer.
Dude.
Although
Twink out
all them
assassins.
years, man.
I played on hardcore, and I would PK on hardcore. I was the worst kind of person, but I hope that is still something that you can kind of do in Diablo 2, because it was just part of what made it fun.
Yeah,
I had to go to confession because of Diablo 2. Like It was horrible what I did to kids. I would go and be like, hey, guys, you need some help? I'm real high level. They'd be like, yeah. You'd go into that cathedral, and I'd unlock all of the seals, which were all unlocked a different boss pack. You're supposed to fight them one at a time.
Before Diablo? Yeah.
Yeah, and I would unlock all of them, and they'd be like, who did that? I'm like, I don't know. Who did that? Let's go find that guy and kick him. I think it was this guy. They'd kick him. We'd all die and wipe, and I'd be like, I'm going to hell. So fitting that I play the game, but I mean, yeah, man, it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, Diablo 2. I mean, I was in line to pick up Battlefield 3 at GameStop, and they still had a copy of Diablo 2 for sale for $30.
Awesome.
Blizzard games last, man.
They do. Built to last. Built to last.
The other things that they showed off for Diablo 3 was the Black Soulstone trailer. Very interesting for you lore folks out there. One reveal they did reveal, spoiler alert, is you guys remember the king in Diablo 1, right? And it was his son Albrecht, I believe.
We talked about this.
That got possessed.
Yep.
Well, King Leoric, who's that king, had another son. And they've officially said in the lore that that other son was the warrior that came and defeated Diablo and put the soulstone in his head. So that was new. But,
so we had two sons get possessed. Good way to go, buddy.
Yeah, great job. Father of the
Not a
year.
good parent.
No, it's Lazarus' fault.
Dude, you guys should have seen Clutch at breakfast at this place right down the street called the Orange Tree. Like, people are looking at us like we are crazy because we're sitting here discussing Diablo lore, and it's like angels and demons got together and had a race, but they didn't know, and people think that we're just like discussing like real life, you know, metaphysical, spiritual stuff, and they're like moving tables, getting further away. They're like, these people are nuts.
Yeah.
Maybe we should call the police. It's too early for this. I don't know what's going on. And Clutch was really into it, man. The guy knows his lore, so it was good stuff.
No, it's cool. I mean, the story-wise, that's true. Is Heaven and Hell got sick of fighting, and so some people left and created Sanctuary and started procreating. That's where humans came from. But the lore itself, I find, you know, pretty fascinating. I read all the books for StarCraft 2. I need to read all the books for Diablo to get prepped for Diablo 3. If you hadn't heard, you can buy the World of Warcraft pass for a year, and you will get Diablo 3 free. That's interesting. They will have a Diablo 3 Collector's Edition that's for sale for $100. I think that's what the MSRP is for it.
And before people freak out about that, Clutch, like, before people are like, $100? Oh! One, like Wiggin said, Blizzard games, man, they last. Mm-hmm. Two, man, if you go golfing, 2 rounds of golf, they're $60 each. That's $120. That gives you 12 hours of enjoyment, maybe. Little perspective for you guys out there. Might want to buck up for the D3 because I think it's going to be awesome sauce. Just saying.
Yeah.
Blizzard paid me to say that.
Well, it's an investment in how much entertainment I can get out of this, and truly the stuff with it. I mean, it's standard collector's edition stuff. You have the art book, the soundtrack CD. Those are the 2 things I want. I want the art book and I want the soundtrack CD. Yeah. And everything else are bonuses. You have portraits. You have lots of other things. There is an expansion for World of Warcraft for you people that still play World of Warcraft. Mists of Pandaria. I mean, that was pretty much called
Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah. You could be a monk. It's an Asian theme, kind of a Chinese theme with the architecture. They announced that.
Clutch, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
It's going to be, this is not one of those softballs. Is Blizzard mailing it in with this WoW expansion? Are they like just going to mail this one in and be like, hey, Kung Fu Panda, who likes that movie? I can see the boardroom like, oh, I do. There's our next expansion. It's written for us. Let's go, baby. We got StarCraft 2 shit to balance. We don't have time for this. Just give them a panda. Everybody likes pandas.
Maybe, man. I don't know. Yeah. Pandas are cool.
Play in it? Did you play any of it?
No, I didn't play any
Okay, well
WoW.
then let's... All right, sorry.
No. I mean, people still play WoW and still enjoy it, and Blizzard understands that, and they're like, hey, why don't we keep, you know, our subscribers for a year? They still pay month to month, but they're down for a year. And let's give them Diablo 3. So, I was surprised by that announcement. I'm not in any way mad about it. I mean, WoW is still huge for Blizzard, still a huge game.
Dude, does Blizzard realize people only have 24 hours in the day?
I don't know. I don't know if they do anymore.
I want to check it out, man. I want to check it out.
Yeah.
But you got, like, Dota, SC2, Heart of the Swarm. Wow, there's a new IP coming out. I'm like,
Yeah,
Really? Like
they didn't touch on any of that stuff. I wouldn't think they would about their new IP, and I don't think they will probably till at least at the earliest next BlizzCon. But we'll see. That's exciting as well.
All their
because-
games are just blowing up too much. There's no way they would come out with something new.
Yeah, well, but the three universes they've created, Diablo, StarCraft, and Warcraft, are big. Those are the biggest PC gaming universes, period, guys. And it's been like that for a long time. And, I mean, it's like automatic income whenever they release a new title for any of those universes. But the thing is, they're not making games every year. They are honing these games down to be as good as they want it to be before they release it, despite all the people that get super pissed when they find out, hey, Diablo 3's pushed back to 2012. But that is testament in itself when you see Diablo 2 still for sale in video game stores. That's pretty awesome. Also, lore-wise, watch the Black Soulstone trailer, and they did reveal that the main bad guys, or the bad guys in the game, is going to be Belial, the Lord of Lies, and Asmodon, the Lord of Sin, the two lesser evils that you have not fought against or seen in the game yet. Oh, Galen dropped. Galen. Hopefully we'll get him back. Let's see. Anything else lore-wise?
Scooted over.
Yes, he was. I don't know if Galen played Diablo.
after we got off, did you guys notice after we got off Heart of the Swarm Protoss units, he went tone deaf. Like that was it for him.
It's the poor guy's depressed about it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
we killed his evening. Like really, I think he's gonna go to the local bar and drown his sorrows after that.
Oh. All right, well, it's getting kind of late. I have 2 more titles to talk about. So let's shift gears over into Battlefield 3. Okay.
Awesome.
Played
yeah.
the single player, which Battlefield is not really known for single player. They did have the Bad Company campaigns for 1 and 2. The thing I liked the most about single player is you get to play as somebody that's not American. And you know how in games where, let's say you play a Russian, and like they'll speak in English but with a Russian accent?
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, why do they just speak Russian? Because they're around other Russians. They do that in Battlefield. Is that when you play, spoilers, when you play as a Russian, they talk in Russian to each other and it's subtitles. I thought that was great. It's a very small thing, but I got sick and tired of campaign games where you are from another country and you're around your comrades, but you're all speaking in English with a Russian accent. It's like, come on, guys, just subtitle it. Just hire an actor that can speak Russian and do it. It just adds more to the cinematic feel of the game. I felt they did that right. The
Authenticity.
Yes, the single-player campaign is 6 hours. It's short, but it's cool. Honestly, it just kind of like details and highlights the engine and playing in the different vehicles and warfare in Iran. So that's the game single-player wise. But face it, we did not get Battlefield 3 to play single-player. We got it to play multiplayer, and it's fun. It's tough at first because if you're used to faster-paced arcade shooters like Call of Duty, you're going to be out in the open and you're going to see a tank and you're going to think, oh, I can throw a grenade at the tank, it'll do something. No, whoa, the tank's going to kill you. You need to go and find cover and tell your teammates, I need a bazooka, I need a Law's rocket to take it out. But once you get that strategy down, and once you find a good team or find a good server, you can find a VoIP on Vent or TeamSpeak or whatever to communicate with them. That's when the true fun begins, and you can have a blast.
It's awesome. I gotta say, Clutch, like along those lines, I refuse to get the game because I will be completely addicted. When I saw that you could like jump in a chopper and fly around, I'd be like the guy crashing that all the time because I crashed a chopper. But you know, I can't play because like you see, you know, a lot of the guys from Stim play it on Total Biscuit server, I guess, as they're mentioning in chat. Actually, Newbie's one of them, and it looks so fun. Like it looks ridiculously fun. Is it as fun as it looks? I heard there's some issues though with the new game client after post beta. Like beta was a wonderful experience, and now that it's live, it's a little iffy. Is that
the client itself? Like I was having issues trying to stream it today with XSplit. That got a little annoying. It's more stable than it was in beta, which is obvious because it should be. The origin system is new. It's just a Steam copy.
Yeah.
Man,
I'm disappointed that
big.
they took it off of Steam. I felt Steam was just. I mean, you already had a customer base there for Bad Company 2 and Bad Company 2 Vietnam. Why take it off? But EA had whatever. So, and then it's a browser-based searching and profile system. So when you look for a server, it opens your browser and you go through it that way. So it's like, were they too lazy to implement that within the game, or does it work better as a browser-based structure for their website to track the stats and do all your searching, and then have the game client be completely dedicated to the game itself?
Who cares about the reasoning, man? It's just stupid. It's a horrible system.
Yeah.
That's the kind of answers I like right there. Boom.
Anyway.
Wiggins coming through.
I wish I had hey, EA, send a representative to tell why you guys did that. I'd love to know.
Yeah, there was somebody.
They'd say just what Wiggins said. Well, we don't know. It was dumb. We effed that up.
No, man. Like, okay, I haven't played the release yet. I only played the beta. I haven't bought it yet because I'm trying to lose as many games as I can on ladder. That's what's taking up my time. And the beta. I'll say this about the beta: the game itself is just so fun. I didn't even get to play with vehicles, but I love the vehicles from Bad Company.
I got to tell you about what happened today.
Just the moments you can have where you're just like crawling through the bushes, just there's bullets cracking over your head, there's grenades going off, you're trying to like desperately revive a teammate and stuff like that. It's just such a fun game, and it's so well done.
Yeah.
Well, the actual like multiplayer, it's beautiful. I've heard some bad stuff about the single player, but I don't care about the single player.
Yeah, it's not meant. It's like the story wise, it's a generic.
I don't understand that
modern
concept
shooter.
from so many people. I don't get it. Like, I love the single player. Multiplayer is great, but even like the Call of Duty series, like, I guess I'm definitely in the minority with this, but I expect them to put something into the single play. Like, I typically enjoy them.
Yeah, the single player for Call of Duty, writing wise, story wise, is better. But that has been their forte for a while. DICE. Sure. I mean, let's look at 1942. The single player was playing against bots on the maps that you play multiplayer. That's what it was. So
it's fine by me.
Yeah, it's totally cool.
Yeah, and you guys are in the majority. I agree. Like, I'm the minority here, where it's like
I know. I love single player. I play through.
I've never seen someone attack a single player harder than Clutch does. Like, especially like when StarCraft 2 came out. He played more than anybody I know, but it was all single player on Brutal.
Yep.
Like,
I played through normal, played through hard, played through Brutal, and got every achievement except 2. Beating the game in under what, like 8 hours, and the other one was
you need a
freaking
girlfriend.
Viking game.
You need to get a girlfriend. That is indicative of need of a girlfriend.
Hi Olivia, how you doing?
On the level.
Good to see you. Anyway,
need of girlfriend. We're going toward. Yeah, Clutch is right here. Like, we're there, buddy. But we know you don't have time. So
all right. Hey, I got a Twitter, Clutch08. Send me your. Send me.
don't open.
Galen's back.
Hey, we got Galen back. Yeah.
Touchdown.
Don't start that. Yeah, I tried to go on a date with Lindsay Spore. That failed. So, her loss. Anyway,
she's busy covering StarCraft 4.
Yes. No, she's busy being in Conan O'Brien commercials. If you've seen that one, it's kind of funny.
No, that's pretty cool.
So as far as the gameplay itself, it's fantastic multiplayer-wise, but it's a strategy game. It's not a random shooter. Oh, he's close enough, I can get him. You got to lead your targets, and sometimes it's a little annoying because you have the normal game type or the hardcore game type, and the hardcore you don't see the bottom right-hand corner of your HUD, which is the bullets, your ammo, how many you have in your magazine, how many you have total. And you don't have crosshairs when not aiming down, when firing from the hip. The bullet damage in regular feels too weak on some of the guns. In beta, they felt great, but in this, they just feel too weak. Like, I got to pop 4 or 5 shots of a rifle off.
I've heard that
into one guy, and so the same thing happened in Bad Company 2, and they sent out a patch and they addressed it, and it fixed it about 75%. But still, some of the guns, they should do more damage. Hardcore was pretty good, but sometimes it gets really annoying when you pop your head up and you get killed by one shot by a sniper, which is like almost too realistic, but hey, that's the trade-off you get. The vehicles are fantastic. You can disable a vehicle before you blow it up, So you shoot the back of a tank, the tank's disabled. It can still shoot its gun, but it can't move anywhere. One more shot, it blows up. And you do get points for disabling the vehicle. I was flying a jet today. So much fun. And what's interesting, too, is that when you start off with a jet, you just have the machine gun. You don't have missiles. You don't have IR flares. You don't have bombs. You just have a machine gun. So you have to kill stuff with your jet, with your gun, before you unlock those things. So it was kind of odd at first to realize, oh, I'm a sitting duck just up here with a machine gun. But once you start having dogfights or taking tanks down from below, you'll have those upgrades. Today, I was in a map, and this guy was on my 6. Like, just for a good 4 or 5 minutes, man. It was pissing me off. And then I flew over the main area of where the flags are being captured, did a break. He came right next to me. I got behind, turned on my heat seeker missiles, and took him out. It's those kind of moments where you're trying to survive.
Top Gun.
You have
Hit
a
the brakes,
huge,
will fly right by.
yeah.
Man.
You have a huge payoff, man. And
that should have been an achievement.
Yeah, it should have. It was pretty sweet. So a lot of the vehicle combat's a lot of fun. But seriously, if you have to sometimes have patience in that game, especially when you have huge 64-player maps, and they can get really annoying if you're just spraying and praying and running everywhere. You'll get taken out. You got to use that cover. The chopper is a lot of fun as well. I love those things. So I'm glad I'm playing that. I also have Batman Arkham City. Tumba, did you get that?
No,
Okay.
I heard you were getting it, and I heard you call from my house, the store, and be like, "Yeah, I'm not going to be there on time, so be sure to hold that for me." So I was legit interested because I heard a lot of good things about that game as well. So I was legit interested to see your thoughts on the game.
Well, the first one was so innovative as far as using the Unreal system and incorporating so much of the comic book Batman that we know and love, and the voices of Kevin Conroy's Batman and Mark Hamill as a Joker, and also the voice actress that plays Harley Quinn is in it as Harley. So seeing that and growing up, watching the Batman and Superman animated series, and then seeing that rendition of the games, and the combat system was great. Now with the sequel coming out, and you start off playing as Catwoman, I was like, oh, this is cool. It's great. The gameplay's fantastic. The storyline is cool. I just feel, and this is, my opinion can completely change, I just feel that the first game is so much to live up to, and Mark Hamill kind of echoed these sentiments, that it may not hold the same lasting value as the first one, because the first one is so new and innovative and awesome, that tool of newness and innovation isn't applicable for the second one, and so it may not be as good. But
one of the hardest things in business, man.
I know, exactly.
Across the board, not just
Exactly.
with video games, movies, products, Apple 2G. Steve Jobs talked about it on his second project. It's tough, man. So
yeah.
Hopefully I think if it gets even close to the hype, that'll be good.
Yeah, well, I'm about halfway done with the single-player campaign, but I'm trying to get all the Riddler trophies and stuff. And it's a challenge, and it's a lot of fun. I really dig it, and it's a title worth buying. So, check it out. It's really
Do you know
cool.
what the ending is, by the way?
The ending to it?
Have you had it spoiled to you?
No, don't tell me.
Okay, it's hard to say, knowing what the ending is, that it won't have a lasting effect as a game.
Yeah.
The story's pretty serious. Man.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I'm saying my opinion can change because I'm only halfway through. But also meeting and fighting against, or even working with, characters in the comics, such as Mr. Freeze or the Penguin, is pretty cool. Pretty cool. And seriously, man, when they have great voice actors, that can make or break a game, and they have great voice actors for these
You
games.
put Mark Hamill in anything, and I'm probably
gosh,
I'm in, man.
That Joker, man, he's so good.
Did you hear that he's retiring from doing the voice of Joker after that?
I think he said he was misquoted.
Oh yeah?
About that.
Okay.
Yeah, he said that he was leery about it because he said how could we top the first, how could we top Arkham Asylum? How could we top that? But then they read the script and he said, okay, we can do this. And then I think he said people thought that he was retiring after this, and that wasn't the case. He just thought, how can you
It's
top
just out of context. It's like
I think
how to
so,
top it.
because I read a comment about it, Wiggin, but the internet would have more information than I do. That's why I use it about that. But
Wow. Wow, that's BM.
yeah,
Wiggin, you know what he just said? Google it, lazy ass.
Hit that Wikipedia.
No, it was more of I have an answer for you, but I'm not 100% confident that it's accurate, and I don't want to get completely trolled because Mark Hamill calls me the next day. Like, Clutch, I watched your show, and I am retired. I'm like, I'm sorry, Mark Hamill. I'll see you at the next Comic-Con. All right, guys. Closing comments. We're going to wrap up the show. It's getting kind of late. Galen, we'll start with you since you've been silent and disconnected for a bit. Welcome back. Yeah. Your mic's muted.
Protoss,
There we
man.
go.
He wants to go. He wants to go.
There we go.
All right, go ahead, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Closing comments, I guess. Follow me on Twitter, MLG_Omerta. Check out my stream. I'm starting to stream a lot more StarCraft 2 lately. It's twitch.tv/OmertaSC. I do lots of fun Warp Prism stuff, so definitely check that out if you like to watch some Protosses use their Warp Prisms. Yeah, I guess that's about it.
Cool. Thanks for being on the show, man. You guys can also catch a lot of his awesome articles on the MLG website. He does some great work.
That too, of course, yeah.
Some great work for the StarCraft 2 side of Major League Gaming. Tumba, thank you so much for being on, man.
Always a pleasure.
Comments?
Always a pleasure. Yeah. No, I got to shout out actually Astro Gaming for the A40s. Look at these things, man.
Booyah!
Look at those.
Love them.
Look how awesome sauce those are. With the Yeti mic, they're like, I mean, the mic that comes with them is awesome because you can just yank it out if you have to. For casting, I use the Yeti. But anyway, yeah, man, thanks to Astro for the cool headsets. Thanks to MLG so much for giving back to the community. We got a little ambitious there at the end of MLG Orlando, try to get some dual casting, so they provided the headsets for us. So hopefully we get that for Providence squared away. But and if you want to follow me on Twitter, @TumbaSC, and you can check out Stim TV as well, where we provide a lot of good SC2 stuff. And thank you so much, Clutch, for having me on, buddy.
Thank you. And Wiggin, closing comments, my friend.
Just a couple quick shout-outs to Nersky and Newbie and Frosterly for watching the whole time. Thanks, guys. And any of my friends that might be at home watching.
Oh, God. I'm dead, because those are all my buddies. So, yeah, no, hold it. We got to rewind for a second. That didn't happen. What you didn't say that is trolling me. Hold on a second. Hit the brakes. Big shouts out, of course, to Adabeezy, my co-casters, man. My co-casters from the Beta Bunker. Of course, you know, how can I forget Adabeezy? I got to shout him out even though he's not in here. Nursky, of course, who I'm going to have a conversation with directly after this about some things. And Robin, too, and Lily and everybody else. Love you guys so much. So sorry. Thank you, Wiggin, for bailing me out of that. Big heart to everybody out there. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, Clutch. Sorry. Thank you.
All right. And Wiggin?
Yeah, so follow me on Twitter. It's on there, right at the bottom somewhere, MLG_Wiggin. Check out my stream on Twitch TV, also MLG_Wiggin.
He plays Terran, though. So.
I play Terran, but
he has a beard.
Fun way. Yeah, I have a beard. I generally listen to good music and commentate on how I'm playing. Do a lot of mech, stuff like that. I try to not build Marauders as often as possible.
Yeah.
Well, so I lose a lot. But
Instead, you just build Marines, Siege Tanks, and Banshees against Protoss and get free wins. So.
Well, there's still a little bit of that. So yeah, High Masters Terran. I come hang out. I like to do coaching, things like that too.
Yeah.
So check that out. Thanks again for having me, Josh. Clutch.
Most welcome. Most welcome.
And I think that's it.
That is it. That wraps it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow gamers, thank you so much for tuning into Shifting Gears. I am Clutch. Yes, I was the same Clutch at MLG Orlando that had the amazing privilege of interviewing those fantastic players and working with the great production staff and casters with Major League Gaming, such legends as Day9, Husky, Taste Toastus, and DJ Wheat. Those guys really are so hardworking, and they do a lot of great stuff. And JP McDaniel, I can never replace that guy. JP is awesome at what he does, and I've worked with MLG for a while as a cameraman and then as a production assistant, and I am a professional actor, and so I had offered, it's like, guys, ever need anybody, to fill in or whatnot, I'm here, you can use me, and that's what happened. They told me to bring a blazer, bring some dress shirts, and the rest is history. So thank you so much for all the incredible support on the internet. I know that's always a hazing period for new people like me to be in front front of such a large online crowd, but really the support was awesome. Almost had a tear in my eye. And we had such a great event. I'm so looking forward to Providence. This show is on every Friday night, 10 p.m., and so make sure to check it out, 10 p.m. Eastern. And we talk more about different games, not just StarCraft 2, but that was a big topic because of the great events that we had. But if you have any questions or you'd like to follow me, go ahead and hit me up on Twitter, Clutch08. I also stream on my off time whenever I do have some off time. And it's twitch.tv/Clutch08. Thank you again so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care. This has been another awesome episode of Shifting Gears.